Zhuo Fan survived the mountain, but survival only made the empire more afraid of him. The clans believe they can bind him with deals, threats, and reputation, but every chain they throw around him is about to become another weapon in his hands. If you want more ruthless cultivation power plays like this, subscribe and follow the next step of Zhuo Fan's rise. In The Demonic Emperor Part 15, the aftermath of Beast King Mountain pushes Zhuo Fan into a deadlier stage, where old enemies regroup, powerful families begin moving, and one wrong alliance could decide who controls the coming storm. Roar, a dragon roar reverberated, and Zhuo Fan's face turned more and more savage as his left arm released a golden glow, and a dragon image flowed along it. Constant snapping sounds were heard, and his skin actually transformed into dragon scales. Lastly, his entire hand turned into a dragon claw. A mere twitch of his fingers was enough to tell you how sharp they were as they whistled through the air. "Earth Dragon Claw," Zhuo Fan said. He turned his vicious eyes at the four scared cats and said, "Over the last month, I've trained to integrate with the dragon vein soul. So transforming goes without saying, ha ha ha." Then he swung his claw at the ground. Boom, a yellow glow flashed and a glowing arc split the ground on the spot. It passed through everything, snapping things in two. Not even the mountains were spared. It went strong for the better part of a mile before the yellow wave attack vanished. Everyone watched on in shock. Zhuo Fan cultivated for just 1 month and he came out not only layers above, but even his body was monstrous now. Even the renowned body cultivators in the Radiant stage would be reduced to pieces under that claw. They all watched Zhuo Fan with dread. Now, even if he didn't use the bloodworms, he could still put them in their place, not that they dared mess with him to begin with. Zhuo Fan's body strength far exceeded theirs. Abominable 4, which one of you little SHTs would like to go first? Zhuo Fan waved the dragon claw around, like a demon archon about to hand over the sentence to some imps. The 4 scheming demons were scared to death, choking on their own words. Holy hell, is this a joke? What's going to be left of me after that punch? They were truly regretting it now, knowing Zhuo Fan's capacity for abnormality. Each time Steward Zhuo went into seclusion was like being born anew, coming up with new and outrageous ways to be overpowered. Case in point, Zhuo Fan's current seclusion shot him way beyond all those present. They were totally unprepared, but now they had to roll with it. They should have seen this coming and should have dropped on their knees to beg for mercy instead, but how were they supposed to do that now? The 4 sighed, their smiles laid thick with a heavy sense of begrudging and self-deprecation. But soon, Sly Demon's eyes probed. "Steward Zhuo, your Earth Dragon Claw is marvelous. I wonder though, can you do that with both hands? Only the left." Zhuo Fan could see his thinking from a mile away, yet he didn't hide it. Sly Demon lit up and he gathered his pals around for a little bro talk, then they came out laughing. Violent Demon puffed up his chest and stuck his chin out. "Steward Zhuo, didn't you say we can choose which hand? You're a man of your word, right? But of course, though, it won't change anything." Zhuo Fan smiled, "So I decided to use the left in dishing out your punishment. No, we've changed our minds. We want the right one." Violent Demon pointed at his brand new hand with a cackle, sending a condescending gaze his way. Zhuo Fan looked at his own right hand and shook his head. "This won't end well, and why not? Come on, Steward Zhuo, you are a clan steward, your words are worth gold. You can't go saying something on one hand and do another on the other, or no one would trust you." Violent Demon urged on seeing him hesitate. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Oh, reverse psychology. Not bad at all. All right, we'll do it your way. Here comes my right." The 4 rejoiced, with Wimp Demon even giving a thumbs up and sucking up to his bro. "That's our bro, insightful and glib. He has just received that arm and hasn't practiced using it yet. It must be the weakest. It will snap like a twig the instant it touches us. Good going, bro. Dang right, or I ain't your eldest bro." Violent Demon stuck out his chin. Sly Demon was annoyed and backhanded Wimp Demon. "Cut the bull, that was my idea. Whose ass are you kissing? By all rights, you should be kissing mine." Wimp Demon looked aggrieved with that red face. Violent Demon was growing irate and backhanded Sly Demon too. "You're the bullshitting one. I'm the eldest bro. Without my wise leadership, you'd never come up with this plan. All credit goes to me. You're the one bullshitting. I said it first, it was my idea. Why should you take credit?" Sly Demon was pissed off and started throwing punches at Violent Demon. The other 2 demons were cheering, but it wasn't long before they joined in for a much-needed bonding. And so 4 little demons played their little act per usual, same old, same old. The elders having front row seats of the spectacle had brooding moods. These little SHTs are a lost cause. They've already forgotten why Steward Zhuo was angry, why he was punishing them. They were going at it right in front of him, like everything was right as rain, no harm done. Glancing over at Zhuo Fan, everyone could see the throbbing vein on his forehead. "You 4, are you ready for my fist?" Zhuo Fan's patience was running dangerously low. The four scheming demons weren't stopping on his account, yet they had the time to speak in unison. Don't mind us, do your thing. Knock yourself out and have your fill of punching. Despise, condescension, and contempt, these four demons weren't buying Zhuo Fan's bravado, thinking his right arm wasn't up to snuff. Zhuo Fan smiled in anger and moved his hand around. Ha ha ha, you sure are experts to want so many punches. That's fine, let's give you a little taste first, shall we? Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with bloodthirst and he punched. Tangible projection, sky-piercing killing arm. Boom. Like a flood, Zhuo Fan's right arm shined red and swelled. His thick arm became like a giant steel wall barreling straight for the demons. That terrifying might stole the breath of even these sixth layer of radiant stage experts. Ducking their heads instinctively, whoosh, the red glow shot over the demons into the sky. Boom, like an artillery blast, the Killin's sacred arm rumbled the space wherever it passed and pulverized everything else. With the space in front of the fist taking the brunt of the hit, warping constantly and making a 300 feet tall cliff crumble into nothing. Once silence sat in, all that was left in the eyes of the onlookers was desolation and not much else. The shock was so great that they were in denial. Everyone knew Zhuo Fan would have an outrageous power boost, but who'd have seen that one coming? Not them. That thing could crush the world. The four scheming demons were shivering on the spot, their faces void of blood. It was a déjà vu moment for them. Gu Santong had done the same thing, one invincible punch to crush everything. Gulping, the four scheming demons found it hard to look at the red pillar in the sky. They knew they had messed up and were on the verge of crying. You call that a hand? That's a pylon. The slightest touch will turn us into meat patties. I'd take the dragon claw anytime, thank you very much. They blindly took Zhuo Fan's new arm for a newborn's, when in fact it was a weapon of mass destruction. Moreover, are those the arms of a human? Gasping, Zhuo Fan withdrew the Killin leg back to being his arm and nodded pleasingly. Transformation was a secret art of changing shape. That meant turning his left arm into the earth dragon claw of a sacred beast taking human form, while tangible projection meant transformation of returning to its original form. His Killin arm looked like an arm and was tough beyond imagination, but only through this tangible projection of turning the Killin arm back to the Killin leg could he unleash the sky-piercing Killin power. Yet this wasn't all the Killin leg could do, limited as it was by his low cultivation. Had he put too much power into the blow, he'd be going down with it. But even when limited for the whole of Tianyu, it was more than enough. With the earth dragon claw on his left and the Killin arm on his right, no enemy could contest him in Tianyu. Zhuo Fan grinned, awfully full of himself. Now that he took notice of the others, their minds had taken a vacation it seemed, betrayed by their dumb looks. While the four demons were shaking like leaves. With a demonic smile, Zhuo Fan swished his right hand. You four said to keep him coming right, want another one? No, Steward Zhuo, you're too awesome. We don't dare to play in front of you. How about you use the blood infant to punish us? That punch of yours will splatter us. You wouldn't want the Luo clan's last 5 years of investment to be for nothing, would you? The four demons' heads were pounding and snot was coming out of their noses. Zhuo Fan smiled, ha ha ha, you four just keep begging for mercy. Fine, I'll let it slide just this once, but you better get this straight. If I find you slacking on the job again, there won't be a next time. I'll flatten your heads on the spot. Steward Zhuo, worry not, it won't happen again. The four demons shook their heads and vowed. Only then did Zhuo Fan nodded and looked in the distance. Good. It's time we go to the imperial capital and regroup with the others. Yes, everyone cupped their hands as they accepted the order. Even the playful and sly demons turned respectful on the spot. Imperial capital, the imperial palace's gates. There were 360 copper inlays in the 9 heavy 3-meter-tall gates. Set in the shape of macrocosmic orbit array, it was an everlasting symbol of peace and imperial power. Guards strapped in golden armor stood before each grand gate with grace and dignity, releasing a heavy pressure on anyone who came close. Even fresh cultivators could feel the presence of 1,000 of these profound heaven experts. The imperial family's power had always been the strongest in Tianyu. A crowd had gathered outside these gates since the crack of dawn, now in awe of such a display of power. How long had it been since the imperial family had held a ceremony? No one knew since this was their first. On such occasions, delegates were to come from every clan in Tianyu, from the biggest houses to the smallest. The last time such a gathering took place was centuries ago when everyone banded together and repelled invaders from their border. It was quite plain to see how much weight the imperial family had attributed to the bestowal of the 8th noble house title. The Luo clan, a mere third-rate clan, was now going to be wallowing in honor. They had simply won the esoteric debate, but was it that great an achievement to have the whole of Tianyu take part in its awards ceremony? Some small clans, waiting in the biting cold outside the gates, begged to differ. Why don't we get that kind of treatment? The many clans gathered before the imperial palace's gates were feeding the rumor mill as they discussed. Some were envious and some were in awe, but what predominated everyone was reverence. It had never happened before, and the difficulty could be imagined. A third-rate clan was, in their time, entering the rank of houses and even receiving the imperial family's approval. Since a third-rate clan could be so hardworking, the other lowly clans had no reason to stagnate and contend with the status quo. Why, young master, wait? Among the tight crowd, a proud and dashing youth, wearing a scholar's hat, kept on walking even as the apprentice scholar behind him yelled. He only stopped when he reached the front of the throng of people. His eyes shining like stars, looking all around him. I'm finally out. Why, young master, we have to go back or I'll be punished. The child squeezed in front as well. Her cute and squishy face made him so adorable. The young master only smiled. I've been stuck home for ages. Now that I'm out, time to have some fun. Why the hell would I go back now? This is the Imperial Palace's 8th House Award ceremony, the event of the millennium. The last time this happened was at the Empire's founding. I want to see with my own eyes what makes this 8th house so great, so powerful to make His Majesty break the 1,000-year-long convention. Looking about, assured that no one noticed his slip of the tongue, the youth stuck out his tongue and smiled. The child was even more distraught. Why, young master, you've had your fun for 4 hours already. It's time we head back, or with your temper we won't get away with a simple punishment if anything happens. Stop yapping. The young master bopped the child on the head, annoyed. You dare talk to me this way. When I get back, it's the cane for you. Then why did you bring me with you? To punish me. If anything happens to you, my life's on the line. You. The young master glared, angry. Was he that weak to not survive one hit in front of so many people? Seeing how he wanted to slip away all the time, he was just like a human trafficker. Was he that useless? His Highness, the Crown Prince, has arrived. With a sharp cry, a refined sedan chair entered everyone's eyes. Once it stopped, an elegant and dignified youth wearing a golden robe with 4 dragon claws on it stepped out. The purple golden guards rushed forward to steer clear the clans, forming a 3-meter-wide path. The Crown Prince walked in front towards the Imperial Palace's gates. Damn, it's eldest brother, don't let him find us. The young master lowered his head and pulled the child into the crowd. The child could only follow. The Crown Prince suddenly stopped, then bowed to his surroundings in apology. Before the 7 houses arrive, we are unable to open the gates. I am dreadfully sorry to have everyone wait out here in the biting winds and piercing cold. Please accept my sincere apology. The Crown Prince gave a half bow. The crowd was frantic in returning the bow. Their hearts went to him. He was such a proud and wise figure. He was sure to go places. Ha ha ha, eldest bro is making nice again. Did you earn some sympathy points? Some rather sharp and venomous words resounded. The people whipped their heads to see who dared be so crass towards Tianyu's Crown Prince. What they saw was a glum youth bearing a striking resemblance to the Crown Prince. He wore the same dragon-clawed robe, just that he only had 3. The people realized he was Crown Prince Yuan Bo's brother, second Prince Yuan Yang. Crown Prince eyed him coming over with a trace of anger. Second brother, what are you suggesting? Every clan in Tianyu has gathered at our great imperial capital at the invitation of the imperial family. Shouldn't I, the Crown Prince, show these people gathered here in the biting winds and piercing cold some care? Humph, a mere act. You think they're worth inviting? That was the imperial decree. They had to come. Yuan Yang sent a mocking glance to the aunt's eldest brother. How can an irresolute man and sympathizer like you be the next leader of this nation? Second brother, by treating Tianyu's people like this, how are you going to rule with justice? How are you going to earn their respect? This is why the imperial father didn't make you Crown Prince. The Crown Prince glared. Yuan Yang's eyes were spitting fire at this point, his face barely stopping itself from exploding. Yuan Bo, don't patronize me. Based on wisdom and approaches, I'm no different from you. Isn't it all because you came into this world a year before me that you've earned such a glorious title? Isn't it because you are firstborn? Other than that, I am just as capable as you are to be Crown Prince. The Crown Prince stammered but sighed in the end. Second brother, so this is what's been bothering you. This is why you've always looked at me with hostility since we were young. But what would you have me do? This is the work of Providence. I cannot change the world. If I could, I would have long since given my brother this Crown Prince title. Humph, sophistry, who doesn't want to be emperor? Even that regent estate has been stirring for centuries, yet you, pansy, wish to give it up. Yuan Yang snarled, but I don't need you to hand it over. I'll take what's mine for myself. The Crown Prince looked long at him and sighed, feeling vexed. Then a very familiar voice came. With it, the people began to feel the earth throbbing. A mountain of a man, panting and sweating, was rumbling over with a thundering gait. He was sweating buckets, but was mighty happy. Elder brother, second brother, it's been ages since we last saw each other. I missed you so much. He was the one, the only, Tianyu's third prince, Yuan Kong. He was a rarity in this world of cultivation filled with trained, fit bodies, one of the very few fatties. The young master hiding in the crowd and the child held their heads. Sigh, third brother, can't you sweat that fat off a little? Every time you come out, you scare everyone. I don't even want to be seen around you. Yuan Yang glanced at the tub of lard with loathing. God damn it, hasn't this pig left the imperial capital yet? What's he doing back here? Ha ha ha, he must have finished his mission and the imperial father had him return. With the 8th Noble House Award ceremony of great importance, it's imperative for the 3rd younger brother to be present as well. The crown prince came out with open arms and a smile. Ha ha ha, 3rd brother, welcome back. Eldest brother, with a cry of joy, Yuan Kong jumped into the crown prince's arms and landed with a bang. At the same time, a snapping sound marked the wincing of the crown prince as the pavement beneath him cracked all over. Your Highness, Crown Prince. Crown Prince's guards rushed over, seeing him hugging the hulking slab of meat. I'm fine. Shaking his head, the Crown Prince put on a reassuring smile. I am a 9th layer bone tempering stage cultivator after all, but even I can't hug my younger brother. Crash. With another sound, Crown Prince's face paled and he looked at his 3rd brother with glistening eyes. Old 3rd, did you get heavier? Just a bit. Last month I weighed 375 kg, but this week I'm 400. It must be all that traveling getting to me that I gained so little. Everyone's face twitched. The 3rd prince sure is an oddball. Where can you find so much fat in the world? Oh, right, eldest brother, are you okay? Yuan Kong asked, seeing his brother's sweaty face. With a pained smile, Crown Prince begged, 3rd brother, could you get down first? My waist is killing me. The crowd blanked out for a whole 2 seconds. Ha ha ha, my dear 3rd, they say Huangpu Kingshan is a monster, but I think you're the biggest monster among them all. I've seen you be constantly on the move these few years, so how come you've gained more weight instead? Yuan Yang looked at the 2 brothers get out of the hug and mocked the one with the creaking waist. What about you, Crown Prince? Always posing around has finally taken its toll. The Crown Prince grew angry but sighed in the end, emphasizing that the younger brother didn't understand his pain. Yuan Kong glared, 2nd brother, I know you don't like me, but leave the eldest brother out of it. Save it. I don't like you because I find that blob of yours an eyesore. Moreover, humph, it's absolutely revolting. Yuan Yang's eyes glinted with bloodthirst. Crown Prince and Yuan Kong wanted to respond, but sighed instead. The young master hiding in the crowd flushed, wanting to go out there and give him an earful. 2nd brother is too much. Eldest brother is always modest and thinks about the good of the people, yet my 2nd brother is always complaining. I need to go out there and give him a piece of my mind. Young master, stop causing trouble. If anyone finds out you've sneaked out, I'll take the fall as well. The child pulled him. Just then a cry came from the crowd. Look, Hell Valley has arrived. Everyone turned around to see a group of men in gray robes with Yuanshan in the lead. He was flanked by his elders and a striking young man with stern eyes. He was Hell Valley's brightest mind, Yugiki's last disciple, Yu Ming. Behind them were 4 strong elders that struck fear in the hearts of others with a mere glance. A single thought from them could annihilate them all. These were Hell Valley's 4 venerables. There used to be a 5th, but that one fell in the Battle of Wingay City. This made Yuanshan's hatred for Zhuo Fan reach bone deep. He had not only killed so many elders, but even murdered one of their venerables. The only reason they weren't marching on Wingay City to kill the Luo clan was because they knew it would be foolhardy. Who the hell cared about some imperial family's restrictions? As weak as they were, they could only endure. Valley Lord Yu, long time no see. Please forgive me for not welcoming you here in person. The Crown Prince cupped his hands. Yuanshan returned the greeting with a smile. Your Highness is too kind. Valley Lord Yu, how have you been the last 3 days? 2nd Prince Yuan Yang walked over with his head held high. Crown Prince's eyebrows twitched and Yuanshan frowned as he gave a mirthless laughter. Ha ha ha, thank you 2nd Prince for your concern. I have been well. Oh, it's almost time for the gates to open. I am going in first to prepare. Afraid of saying more than necessary, Yuanshan came up with an excuse to extricate himself and made his way to the gates. The 9 gates had a particular importance, the 9 Dragon Guard. In every major event, Tianyu's clans gathered in front of these gates and the 9 gates opened at the same time. The emperor walked through the middle one, while the others were reserved for the houses and princes. It displayed to the public that the 7 houses and the imperial family were equals, with the rest of the clans following behind. This time the emperor was about to appoint the 8th house, so of course the sealed final gate was now reserved for the Luo clan. At the time of opening, the clans making their choice of which house to follow would stand before their respective gates. But since most of the 8 houses were running late, Yuanshan saying that he was going to get ready to enter was an obvious excuse that he was avoiding them. When they arrived before a gate, Yuanshan looked back at the 2nd prince in anger. That rotten bastard. Has he lost it to be so impulsive? Wasn't he clearly pointing out to everyone that there's something going on between him and us? Ha ha ha, Valley Lord, relax. If he were shrewd, our partnership would have been in danger. It's his rash attitude that makes him an excellent pawn. With a twisted smile, Yu Ming said, he just wanted to show off his power before the crown prince. Let him be, but what about our secret plans? Won't they get exposed? Yu Wanshan snorted. Yu Ming shook his head. Valley Lord, no need to be angry since it will all be revealed anyway. And in the current situation, the rest of the clans will take the same path as us. Once the Luo clan becomes the 8th house, they will turn into the last power and will turn the empire into a tripartite nation. At that time, everyone will be tied down. To break the stalemate, vying for the throne will be the only option left. The side that controls the future emperor will be the one to use the imperial family to destroy the other houses. The last step will be removing the puppet emperor and taking hold of the world. Is this what you mean by playing for the future? Yu Wanshan squinted. Yu Ming nodded, correct. Yu Wanshan gasped and nodded. So even with the second prince being impulsive, it was this impulsive nature of his that made him great a pawn material. As for the crown prince, no one could gauge him. Yu Wanshan was finding Yu Ming more trustworthy now. In another location, Crown Prince frowned at Yuan Yang, second brother. Imperial father has warned us not to get too close with the houses. You, Crown Prince, you are the rightful emperor, so of course you'd listen. You only need to wait for the throne to fall in your lap. But without any power behind me, how can I fight for it? I told you I'll take everything from you, ha ha ha. Yuan Yang cackled. Crown Prince's eyes flashed with bloodthirst, though hidden deep behind his facade. Yuan Kong came beside the Crown Prince and grumbled, second brother, how can you say that? Openly going against the imperial father's decree. I'm going to tell on you, but the sight of a certain mesmerizing beauty left him speechless. He forgot all about his brothers and ran towards her laughing. Sister Kui, you're here. It's been so long, did you miss me? The two brothers were dumbstruck and sighed. Our third brother truly is a rare fatty, a rare starry-eyed one. The girl has shot him down 108 times, yet he still can't face the music. Veiled Dragon Pavilion's detail approached. Pavilion Lord was in front, flanked by his elders, 5 venerables following them, and lastly, the younger generation. One of them, of course, was the target of young tubby Yuan Kong's fantasies, Long Kui. Yuan Kong was hammering the earth with each step, barreling onward like an out-of-control mountain. After a quick hi to Long Yifi and the rest, he went to Long Kui's side, making her sick. This guy got even fatter. He's inhuman. Ha ha ha, Sister Kui, have you been well? Yuan Kong fumbled his thick fingers, looking bashfully at her. Long Kui glared at him. I thought I told you last time that I like someone else. What are you sticking around me for? You mean brother Zhuo Fan? Ha ha ha, we talked it out. You were only using him as an excuse. We even became sworn brothers afterward, and brothers don't go after another's wife. Yuan Kong licked his lips and giggled. Long Kui mocked, and what if what I said was all true? Yuan Kong froze and stared her in the eyes, but couldn't find a single lie. Ignoring him, Long Kui left him there and returned to her house. After exchanging greetings with the other 2 princes, they walked towards a gate. Only Yuan Kong was left there lonely and lost, then his brows furrowed. The rest of the houses arrived one by one with their elders, venerables, and extras. The only difference was that the 3 houses had 4 venerables, while Drifting Flowers edifices only had 3, making them the weakest. And for some reason, Edifice Lord Chu was nowhere to be seen, with Iris Overseer and Grandmother leading their house. The people had no time for assumptions as the guest of honor showed up. They instantly drew all eyes. Even with plenty of clans seeing the Luo clan's performance in the esoteric debate, the great majority hadn't. They all wished now to catch a glimpse of the Luo clan's might and what made it the 8th house, especially that youth hiding in the crowd. He watched excitedly. They say the Luo clan's steward is a hunk. Which one is he, though? Tap with a steady gait, the Luo clan walked forward. The first were Luo Yuncheng and Luo Yunhai, the leaders of the Luo clan. Right behind them were Captain Peng, Lei Yuding, and other important people. And finally Li Jingshan and Lei Yunshan, the elders. It was clear as day that the Luo clan hardly had any elders, merely 2, and their strength was far weaker. Only Li Jingshan's power stirred the hearts of men. Yet the way Lei Yunshan, a profound heaven expert in the 5th layer, stood next to Li Jingshan, it was like an ant marching side by side with an elephant. Yuan Yang only had disdain for them, humph weak. Does that look like an 8th house to you? Don't they barely qualify with just 1 peak radiant stage expert? Second brother, don't say that. The Luo clan had been a 3rd-rate clan recently. But in the last 10 years, they have grown so much to reach here. What do you say to that? Yuan Kong returned to his brothers, and although downcast, he admired the Luo clan. Crown Prince frowned a bit. Third brother, I must say, this is some very rare and hard oddity to come by, but the way they've developed seems skewed. do you guys think the Luo clan only has one radiant stage expert? When the day comes that they have to fight other houses and their only defense would go into battle, wouldn't they be left wide open for attack? Compared to other houses, the Luo clan will be the quickest to fall. This clan truly is a marvel, but far too soon to be called a house. Yu and Yang watched the approaching group and sighed, "This is not our concern, but for that kid Zhuo Fan to think about." Zhuo Fan, the crown prince and the second prince raised an eyebrow. The former was quite excited. "I've heard about him. Luo clan has managed to see today all because of him. He is a genius not unlike Zhu Chengfeng and Leng Wucheng." Staring at the Luo clan, Yu and Yang spat, "I've heard of him too. Ever since he showed up, he has turned Tianyu upside down and even fought against the 7 houses. In the esoteric debate, he alone fought against Huangpu Qingshan's team of 4, making a name for himself. The Luo clan can now stand abreast the 7 houses all because of its 2 pillars, the sharp steward Zhu and the mighty Li Jingshan. Who is Zhuo Fan anyway?" Yu and Yang scrutinized the Luo clan in search of his query. The crown prince was also on the lookout. Only Yuan Kong, who had become a sworn brother with the man, said after a glance, "He's not here." "What, on the eve of their award ceremony, their steward still won't show?" the 2 cried. Shrugging, Yuan Kong said, "That's just how he is." With that last word, he went to Luo Yuncheng and cupped his hands. The 2 were puzzled and even more curious about Zhuo Fan. But the crown prince still went to greet the Luo clan. Only Yuan Yang disdained them from afar. He did not care one bit if the Luo clan was becoming the 8th house. He just knew one fact. Their odd discrepancy in ranks assured that it was only a matter of time before they crumbled, and he had no intention of making nice with a soon-to-be-dead clan. The young master in the crowd stuck his head out and scanned the Luo clan's detail. "Who's Zhuo Fan? Why does none of them look anything like the rumor? Is he perhaps that guy?" The youth pointed at Yan Fu. The child next to him looked in disdain. "Young master, that guy sure looks fair but nothing alike. How come this?" I overheard my clansmen say that Luo clan's steward is vicious and fiendish, not like that pretty boy. Not to mention that he is the highest person in the Luo clan that even that radiant stage expert listens to. While that kid only knows how to bob his head, not speaking a word to the 2 elders. How is that fiendish? If he were indeed the rumored monster, the crown prince wouldn't dare neglect him. The young master was stunned, then nodded. "Why, you're quite good at deductions. Who knew you had a good head on your shoulders?" He, young master exaggerates." The child giggled, her cheeks rosy. "But if he isn't Zhuo Fan, then who is it?" The others don't look the part either. Seeing her young master so focused, the child shrugged, unsure as well. "Look, Regent Estate is here." A shout caught everyone's attention. Even Crown Prince's attention, who was chatting with the Luo clan. That one look left everyone gasping and drove fear into their feeble legs. A group in golden garb strutted with Huangpu Tianyuan in the lead. Next to him was their steward, Tianyu's second greatest mind, unwanted contriver Leng Wucheng. Following were the profound heaven elders, 50 in number, releasing their mighty auras. Yet that was hardly impressive. What got everyone so shocked was the venerable contingency. A total of 30 people radiating incredible power. Any one of their gazes was enough to raise everything to the ground. Crown Prince gulped at the ostentatious display. He never imagined the Regent Estate's power would reach such a height, almost catching up to the imperial family. Second Prince was dumbstruck. His jaw hanging, eyes popping, forgetting himself as he spoke. "Dang, now that's what you call a 1,000-year-old legacy. How can that upstart Luo clan compare?" Li Jingshan watched them with a cold gaze. He was very clear on the Regent Estate's power. 15 of the venerables were below the 3rd layer of radiant stage, 10 of them between 3rd and 6th, and 5 above. In this aspect, the Luo clan wasn't falling short. The Luo siblings glanced over and nodded. It all came down to Steward Zhuo and the rest if they reached in time. The Crown Prince excused himself from the Luo clan and greeted the Regent Estate. "Estate Lord Huangpu, I trust you have been well. It's only thanks to your blessing, Crown Prince, that I am well." Huangpu Tianyuan smiled. Just then, the second prince skipped the Luo clan and rushed over to Regent Estate with a smile. "Royal uncle, it's been a while." Hiding the disdain, Huangpu Tianyuan put on a smile. "Thank you, second prince, for your concern." The Regent Estate and the imperial family were distant relatives at first, but the imperial family had its dignity. That wouldn't change even among relatives. If anybody wished to get close and use such a way of addressing, it had to be peers. Just like how the emperor called him cousin while never lowering himself. Yet the second prince had walked up and called him royal uncle, his tone thick with flattery. Anyone with an ear could tell he wanted Regent Estate on his side. Not to mention the guy had made a beeline for the Regent Estate, slighting the Luo clan and earning their malcontent. The prime example of the worst ruler. The crown prince glared at his brother, then sighed. Huangpu Tianyuan's group only had contempt for the second prince. narrow-minded, brash, blind ambition, all talk and unable to accomplish a single thing in his life. Glancing at Leng Wucheng, the two's minds connected and they smiled. "Hi, Venerable, your old friend is here. Why don't you go greet him?" Leng Wucheng pointed at the Luo clan with a smile. Huangpu Finglay nodded and grinned, making his way to the Luo clan. The Regent Estate's top expert drew gazes as he walked. Li Jingshan knew his purpose and stepped out as well. Everyone knew the strongest of two clans were now facing off. With Li Jingshan turning his back on the Regent Estate, the latter had to settle this disgrace or it would become a stain on their name. People watched with rapt attention as the two got closer. How were they going to settle this? Even the other houses watched. It seemed like a problem between two men who represented a conflict between two clans. Any side's loss meant shame for their clan. Regent Estate couldn't afford to lose. Regent Estate had lost the esoteric debate, but that was pertaining to the younger generation. While losing here meant their 1,000-year-long legacy would crumble, as would they. Yet the Regent Estate was still willing to do this confrontation, confident of their success. Eyeing Li Jingshan, Huangpu Finglay snickered. "Mad Dipper Li Jingshan, you had lost to me once. How about showing me your progress from these past years, ha ha ha." The two stopped 20 meters from each other. Huangpu Finglay started off with mockery. "Ha ha ha, Li Jingshan, when you first came to Regent Estate, it was for the Imperial Tyrant body art. For you to betray us in favor of the Luo clan, it must have been over something similar, right?" "Quite." Li Jingshan was blunt. "My entire life, I've always been obsessed with martial arts, all in pursuit of power. But you guys are too selfish, not willing to impart me the complete Imperial Tyrant body art, so why would I ever give my all to you? Humph, our Imperial Tyrant body art is a second-to-none profound ranked cultivation method in Tianyu. Training even a fraction of it would have benefited you for life. But fortunately, I was right to judge you untrustworthy and refused to give it to you, or today would have been another story entirely." Huangpu Finglay snickered, "Not to mention that I heard you join the Luo clan for the same thing we didn't give you, a cultivation method, right?" Li Jingshan admitted, "Among other things." "Humph, absurd. In the whole of Tianyu, the quality of our cultivation method is second only to imperial families. Can a third-rate clan give you something like that? Ha ha ha, only a fool would believe that, haven't you heard? Luo clan has a miraculous steward. He gave me something you can't even dream of." Li Jingshan talked back. Huangpu Finglay's voice dropped. "Zhuo Fan, humph, what can a glib punk ever achieve? He is only a king among scamps. And since you hold him in such high regard, you've made me curious to watch him myself. But first, let's see what you've received from the Luo clan." Huangpu Finglay's power surged, and 9 golden dragons roared as they twisted around him. He was glowing with might and devastating power. The Imperial Tyrant body art of the Regent Estate was revealed in all its glory and trained to the max. Ha ha ha, perfect timing. It's time I pay back for the resentment from all those years. Laughing, Li Jingshan became enveloped in dark energy, swallowed in the belly of a huge dragon with red eyes thirsting for battle. The two were moments away from a death match. The crown prince was shocked and rushed forward to stop it, but a man in golden robes stopped him before he got the chance. Huangpu Tianyuan smiled. "Crown Prince, they are peak radiant stage experts. For your safety, please stay away from our venerable." Crown Prince shuddered and noticed his brothers were also behind some venerable from the Regent Estate. All he could do was sigh. It was obvious that the Regent Estate wanted no interference. Before the award ceremony even began, he wanted to show the Luo clan the might of the head of the houses. But with a full-blown battle raging over here, what about the imperial family's reputation? At this critical and dire moment, a divine dragon would usually interfere. No, the crown prince shuddered all of a sudden. How come there were no divine dragons around? It goes on to show that they've planned for this all along. Is the imperial father behind this? Crown Prince's worry eased as he looked at the two fighters, puzzled. The emperor was clearly intent on praising the Luo clan for their exemplary conduct, but letting Luo clan and Regent Estate fight at the gates, he was unclear if it was directed at humiliating the new house or stomping Regent Estate's cocky attitude. Even so, attacking the Regent Estate was impossible at this point, which meant the crown prince was even more puzzled. Just what are you up to, imperial father? Only Leng Wucheng was calmly tending to his beard. He had easily surmised that the emperor's stance with the Luo clan changed from the moment Zhuo Fan got the dragon vein soul. Hence this award ceremony was the perfect time to test the Luo clan's waters. With how Zhuo Fan's actions in the past years were shrouded in mystery so that not even the emperor knew, he was feeling a little more than mere unease. Case in point, only God knew when Li Jingshan had switched sides, yet only now did he show his face. And the emperor wasn't about to let a viable threat fester. Thus today's show was all set up courtesy of His Majesty, with Regent Estate as the main actor, since the two's interests aligned to fish out the Luo clan's dirty little secrets. In the heart of the imperial capital, on the top story of the tallest restaurant, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui sat. Their eyes never left the 9 gates and the waves of power coming from there. Old Fang, the two are as strong as us. Leaving them to fight will spin this out of control. Sima Hui frowned, fiddling with a chess piece. Fang Qiubai held a brand new flute as he shook his head, smiling. It's His Majesty's order, let them fight. And even if it blows things out of proportion, we have young Sanzi to deal with them, ha ha ha. True, in the end it all depends on the little monster. Shaking his head, Sima Hui sighed, but won't that make us utterly useless? Look at us, the invincible divine dragons, jade flute divine sword and monochrome chess sage, now reduced to mere relics of the past, obsolete. Huangpu Finglay aside, for even a third-rate clan's venerable to outclass us, we won't be having such an easy time going wherever we want in Tianyu now. Sima Hui's mood sank and Fang Qiubai shook his head. You're right, but even so, be it Huangpu Finglay or Li Jingshan, they were both powerful men of ambition back in the day. Getting caught up is normal. But if a new and upcoming expert suddenly reached our level, I'd smash my head and die. Sima Hui found wisdom in his words. They no longer chose to dwell on it and resumed to watch the act unfold. The clans in the audience were thrilled at the prospect of a good show, but now they were downright terrified, scurrying to and fro for cover. Of note were those particular clans present at the esoteric debate who were positively dreading the aftermath. They knew better than ever what a clash between colossi entailed. Getting near was suicidal and getting a stray hit would bury you. If they didn't flee now, they would never get the chance. That said, while the two were measuring their auras and powering up, the crowd went wild and hightailing it out of there. The young master in the crowd stumbled in the confusion but stayed put. The ignorance in him had no clue what was coming. Then his robe was yanked by the rushing crowd, revealing a fair hand and a dazzling jade bracelet. The young master cried, trying to cover it, but it was perhaps a bit hard with the frantic mob running around. Pa. The bracelet fell and started rolling on the ground. The young master panicked and chased after it. Imperial Mother's bracelet. Young master, don't, it's too dangerous. The child saw him rush after the rolling bracelet towards the two experts' battle. It was impossible to reach him in time as the mob dragged him further away. Finally, the young master squeezed out between the last people and finally picked up some speed, catching the bracelet with a smile. But just then the two experts moved. With a boom, they charged at one another, while the youth stood there frozen in the middle. Imperial tyrant body art, soaring demonic dragon. As they roared, their power reached the masses before they even clashed. The youth had no time to dodge, feeling the godly pressure bearing down on him and coughed blood. Sharp winds slashed at him, ripping his robe and revealing a lavish garment. The scholar hat fell, draping long flowing black hair. He was a she. Yongning, the 3 princes cried, stop, not that it did much good. The two only heard their own roars. When an expert attacked, he had no reason to stop. Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui jumped to their feet. Princess, they rushed to the rescue. Even though they knew the futility of it, not even them could save her, trapped in the maelstrom of power born of 2 clashing peak radiant stage experts. Li Jingshan and Huangpu Finglay never even registered the girl there. To them, she was as important as an ant. All they saw was their enemy. Roar, roar, with 2 dragon roars, the two sped up. The princes and the 2 divine dragons watched on with bloodshot eyes. They couldn't understand how His Majesty's beloved daughter had ended up here. The danger of the situation finally dawned on Yongning as blood trickled from her mouth. She was akin to a dinghy in the middle of a storm, with the 2 waves coming down on her any minute to render her void. Fear gripped her heart as she shook like a leaf. Mother. Hugging the bracelet, Yongning cried and cried, her lips trembling as she pleaded, someone save me. But who could save her from the jaws of death brought on by the might of 2 clashing peak radiant stage experts? The princes were beside themselves in fear. The 2 divine dragons knew it was hopeless but still tried to reach her, and the child in the crowd was wailing, princess. Yet none of those acts was of any help. The 2 experts finally reached her with bloodthirsty eyes. Their gaze pierced her heart as their punches drew closer. A fierce wind snapped at her face. She knew her end was nigh at their hands. Her heart was in deep regret for slipping out of the imperial palace and ending up here. But in her final moment, all she could think of was her mother watching her from above as she raised the bracelet and prayed, Mother, you said there's someone who will protect me. Please come save me. Whoosh, then the gale and pressure vanished to make way for the cold voice drifting in her ears. Lass, a rabbit has no place wandering where savage beasts are on the prowl. Shivering, Yongning realized that she wasn't torn apart by the 2 mighty powers and was in fact caressed by a breeze. She cracked her eyes open just a hint. but what she saw made her cry out and fall down in fright. Before her was a man in every sense of the word, with broad shoulders, white hair floating in the wind, and a deep gaze looking down on all creation. But the greatest shock was how this man actually put a stop to the raging tempest the two-peak radiant stage experts unleashed. His left hand was twisted into a savage dragon claw, holding Li Jingshan's wrist unscathed by Li Jingshan's black energy trying to eat it, while his right arm made a simple block with his palm. Yet this plain axe seemed to contain endless power, as Huangpu Finglei's 9 golden dragons couldn't budge an inch. The people cried out in shock, seeing the situation take an impossible turn. Two peak radiant experts were handled like a bunch of chickens. Huangpu Finglei and Li Jingshan were overwhelmed watching the man. Then the once lost feeling of fear slowly crept into their soul. They were peak radiant stage experts, fearless against any adversary in Tianyu. But now they were reacquainted with this feeling of dread a century later by this man in front of them. The fact that these two peak experts couldn't match their enemy brought a deep sense of loss to them. They had roamed Tianyu all their lives and reached the peak of power, so where did this guy come from that could trump them? Not to mention he was young. Who are you? Watching the youth sent from the heavens holding the evil dragon claws at bay, Yangning's cheeks flushed. A single question plagued her mind. Did the imperial mother send you to protect me? Ignoring the shell-shocked princess, the youth's right hand moved and Huangpu Finglei was forced back with a groan. Rumbling, the pavement crumbled as Huangpu Finglei skidded back, leaving deep scars. He only stopped when he was in his original spot 10 meters away. Raising his head, his face was pale. He had just used Imperial Tyrant Body Art, a profound ranked martial art to attack, yet the opponent easily took it and even pushed him back. Just what power did this man have? Who the hell is this guy? Not sparing him another moment, he looked at Li Jingshan and pushed back the black dragon claw of his. Elder Li, you're still not backing down. That woke Li Jingshan right up. What had happened was too shocking and he withdrew his attack only now. Then he showed his respect. Steward Zhuo. What, Zhuo Fan? As if rehearsed, the crown prince, second prince and Huangpu Finglei cried out. They looked at him like a zoo animal. They had all heard of Zhuo Fan's glorious name, but never thought he'd be so much of a freak in person. Was there anyone in the world who could take on two peak radiant stage experts' attacks? Leng Wucheng and Huangpu Tianyuan were dumbfounded. How could that monster grow so much in little under half a year? He was a completely different being from the one they saw in the esoteric debate. Then their faces turned heavy. With how true power could topple anything, and the more Zhuo Fan grew stronger, the more futile Leng Wucheng's attempts were to deal with him. To say nothing of what a treacherous knave Zhuo Fan was to begin with. Add to that his power and they felt as powerless as when facing Gu Santong. Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui stopped dead in their tracks, watching dumbstruck for 2 seconds before their faces sank. Old Fang, should we bust our heads and keel over? The youth of today seem to have overtaken us. Hard days await us, Sima Hui sighed. Fang Qiubai's face twitched. One thing had to be said though. Following Zhuo Fan's explosion of power, the emperor would have to change his plans for the Luo clan. The two of them were sure they'd be seeing Zhuo Fan far more often in the future. For the imperial family, they were ready to face any danger, endure any psychological torture this youth stronger than them might subject them to. And since the inception of the great divine dragons, this would probably be the hardest thing yet. Zhuo Fan, you came. Luo Yunqing moved with the Luo clan to his side. Watching him come down like a god filled her with joy. Then she glanced at the dumbstruck Yangning and asked, Miss, are you all right? Yangning blinked for a long time at Zhuo Fan before she could find her words. Are you that? Zhuo Fan, you're 10 times more handsome than the rumor goes. Zhuo Fan's face twitched, but Luo Yunqing got ahead of him as she said coldly, Miss, please mind yourself. Steward Zhu isn't someone you can casually address, but the way he casually dropped was unlike any human, ha ha ha. A laughter came followed by a mountain of flesh running over in excitement. Brother, I missed you so much. With one last step, he jumped on Zhuo Fan. Glancing over, Zhuo Fan only kicked the meatball 2 meters away as it landed with a boom. Face covered in dust, Yuan Kong put on the look of a kicked puppy. Brother, what did you do that for? I'd rather not get crushed to death, thank you. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. Humph, who are you trying to play here? You stopped 2 peak radiant stage experts but can't take a bit of my extra weight. Zhuo Fan cocked his head and ignored him, which only worked to enrage him. Yangning looked at them for a second before saying, Third brother, you know him? Third brother? Everyone looked at her stunned. Luo Yunqing gasped, Then you're the princess? Yes. Yangning held her head high and revealed a proud face, but when she glanced at Zhuo Fan and found him not at all interested, her mood sank. Yangning, how did you get out? What are you doing here? Do you realize how dangerous that was? Yuan Bo rushed over and chastised his sister, then bowed to Zhuo Fan. Thank you, young Master Zhu, for your timely rescue. Zhuo Fan had already left, leaving the crown prince in an awkward position. He then noticed that Zhuo Fan was going in the regent estate's direction. What is he going to do? Fight? Everyone grew excited and nervous. What they saw when he stopped Li Jingshan and Huangpu Finglei was positively incredible. How would the regent estate, the unrivaled head of the 7 houses over the past millennium, cope? The people were eagerly awaiting the good show. This was unprecedented. Anyone messing with the houses got annihilated, but a few years ago, Zhuo Fan began chipping at the 7 houses' power. Outside of the 7 houses, Tianyu now had an 8th Luo clan. And their steward, soaring demonic dragon, was someone neither house wished to test, all while he was more than delighted to step on their toes. What was more, the Luo clan was about to be officially acknowledged, setting up Luo clan's roots for all eternity. After a long 1,000 years, the ranks of the houses would finally be redefined. Whoosh, Huangpu Finglei flashed before Zhuo Fan with a grave face, his eyes staring down on him. You're Zhuo Fan. What are you trying to do? The rest of the regent estate was on high alert. Zhuo Fan merely smiled. Oh, nothing. On this auspicious day, the Luo clan is receiving its title, and I hoped everyone would keep to themselves or a war might break out. War. Humph, Luo clan only has Li Jingshan. What can you possibly do? An upstart clan like you with no legacy dares fight a house. To me, Luo clan has only 2 people. There is no war. What a joke, ha ha ha, Huangpu Finglei mocked. The rest had to agree. The Luo clan's biggest problem was being short-handed. Zhuo Fan and Li Jingshan were great experts and strong to boot. But take them out and the rest would be easy pickings. They weren't even useful as cannon fodder. Luo clan's weakness was clear for anyone to see. Second Prince snickered. Ever heard the saying, short-handed? You 2 are great, but the rest are junk. Once surrounded, the rest will fall like flies. Zhuo Fan mocked. Dumb bigot, you think I don't have a way to fight that legacy of yours? Zhuo Fan pointed at the sky. Feast your eyes on the Luo clan's power, a power to crush any house. Pa. With a crisp sound, powerful surges came from the heavens above. Whoosh, 7 figures dropped down like meteors, spreading their savage energy around Zhuo Fan. The overflowing power got even regent estate to shirk back. With a startle, they realized that all they could do was endure the pressure. People went pale on the spot. Regent estate had 30 venerables, so why couldn't they even fight back when they had the numerical advantage? However, upon closer look, they got the shock of their lives, with their hearts threatening to burst out of their chests. Of the 7 newcomers, only one was a peak profound heaven expert who they didn't recognize, but the other 6 had fiendish reputations. Even as rogue cultivators, no one dared to touch them. Raging Ancestor Q Yanhai, Ice Moon Witch Zhu Qingjian, what are you 2 doing beside Luo clan? Leng Wucheng's eyes flashed with regret. It was the regent estate who wanted them first, and Leng Wucheng found their power impressive. An art to harmonize fire and water was rare. It would have been such a shame burying such an asset. He thought it was better to let them go and think of another way to have them join, since the 2 hardly posed a threat to the regent estate. But who'd have thought they'd side with Zhuo Fan instead, becoming their bitter enemies? If he knew, he'd have culled them when he had the chance. But who could have seen this one coming? Not even he, unwanted contriver with his foolproof plans, had thought it possible that what regent estate couldn't recruit, it would be done by others. However, it was far too late for regret. Zhu Qingjian easily spotted his dilemma. Sir Leng, are you regretting not killing us? Hi, a shame it's all too late now. Steward Zhu is far stronger in this regard. He truly was vile in his recruiting. I get the chills just thinking about it. Zhu Qingjian played coy and put on a knowing look. This got on Leng Wucheng's nerves, a pair of masochists that don't know how to accept a favor. I realize I've been too kind to you. Yes, what you can't obtain, you destroy. The more precious the item, the more this logic stands, since there is a high chance it might come back to bite you. Ha ha ha, Elder Zhu is right. This is where you are beneath me, Zhuo Fan cackled. If one day you fall at my hand, you will experience complete failure. That is why, as a fellow steward, I can lead the Luo clan to new heights, while you can only assist the regent estate by cooking up some elaborate schemes. Humph, this is the difference between rulers and their ministers, and this is what you lack, bringing your downfall. Grinning, Zhuo Fan stared at Leng Wucheng and laughed. Leng Wucheng was about to explode from anger, his eyes bloodshot. For the first time, someone had dared to taunt him. Not even Zhu Chengfeng dared talk to him like that. Zhuo Fan, though, jabbed at his wisdom and his mockery, yet the man couldn't even retort. Who was it that caught him off guard in the esoteric debate and killed everyone? Zhuo Fan said it was a draw at the time, but it was plain as day that Leng Wucheng lost. What could he possibly say to that? Leng Wucheng's anger grew and grew, gasping yet unable to speak. Everyone looked at him stunned. The second greatest mind in Tianyu, Leng Wucheng, was being pushed back in a verbal contest with Zhuo Fan. Huangpu Finglei's face sank, and seeing the Luo clan's forces, he trembled. but when he caught sight of the four pygmies, his eyes grew serious. The abominable four scheming demons. Weren't you in the Thunder Swarm Mountain, locked away by the demon scheming sect? What are you doing with the Luo clan? Hi, Foggy, are you talking to us? Violent Demon held his chin up. How could a mere mountain hold the four demonic heroes? Here, the mountain can't hold us. That goes double to you, hi. The other three jumped up in glee. Squinting, Huangpu Finglay said, "Oh, and what if I tell the demon scheming sect?" SSS the four pygmies shivered on the spot, filled with fear. Huangpu Finglay smiled inside as he mocked, "Humph, you must have escaped your prison, right? If I report you to the demon scheming sect, not just you, but even the Luo clan will. I'd like to see you try." Zhuo Fan cut him off with his derision. "These four twerps are here to help the Luo clan by the order of demon scheming sect leader Zai Yu. Go ahead, report, I won't stop you." Huangpu Finglay choked on his words. It was because Zhuo Fan's information was too credible. Knowing who demon scheming sect leader was, proved the four scheming demons were sent to help the Luo clan. Did that mean the Luo clan had one of the Empire's three guardian sects, demon scheming sect, on their side? What hope did they have in fighting the Luo clan then? Not a snowball's chance in hell. How could a house fight a sect? Yet he was still unwilling to believe all of Zhuo Fan's words, staring him in the eye for any trace of lies. The four scheming demons looked at him in shock. Wimp Demon couldn't hold his curiosity in check as he whispered, "Steward Zhuo, is it true?" Zhuo Fan nodded. It was all fiction, of course. Zai Yu had no idea the four SHTS were with the Luo clan, but he was sure Zai Yu wouldn't object anyway. The demon scheming sect leader was even waiting 3 years before taking him to his sect, yet wouldn't give this little bit of help. The four scheming demons, having got their answer, were ecstatic. They suddenly gathered around and pooled their tiny minds for a little chat. They nodded and a savage glint sparked in their eyes. The four turned into black smoke and charged at Regent Estate. Huangpu Finglay jerked and shouted, "Look out, these four are hard to deal with." Too little, too late. 4 trails of black smoke shot at Regent Estate's venerables. In a blink, a venerable in the 4th layer of radiant stage was taken to the skies. In the sun's glaring rays, the black smoke squeezed in on the venerable, despite his futile struggles. Snaps were clearly heard as the venerable wailed and broke in 4. The blood sprinkled everywhere to the horror of everyone. Since when did a 4th layer radiant stage expert get dismembered so easily? Those things are abominable, let that be a warning. Their unity tactic is hard to defend against, don't let them get the drop on you. Huangpu Finglay shouted, his face grave. He had roamed Tianyu back in the day and knew of the 4 demons' dreadful power. They were few but vile and insidious like fiends, not to mention stronger than an average radiant stage expert. Qiu Yanhai and Zhu Qingjian's fire and water combination art could hold back 10 radiant stage experts. The 4 demons' unity tactic could deal with another 10. And with freaks like Zhuo Fan and Li Jingshan in the mix, he reckoned they'd handle 10 as well each. Luo clan could now deal with 40 radiant stage experts, 10 more than Regent Estate had. This was something no one in the Regent Estate saw coming. In just 10 short years, this clan had reached such an astonishing height. The Crown Prince, Second Prince, and many others were dumbstruck. Who the hell said Luo clan had no legacy? That it was made of only 2 people. In a blink, all their elders were on duty and freaking radiant stage experts at that. What upstart, they were clearly a clan hiding for 1,000 years. Hi, geezer, weren't you about to report us? We're no longer scared of you. If you still have the guts, run away from us 4 demonic heroes and snitch. The black smoke in the air let out violent demons cackle. Huangpu Finglay felt a headache. He stuck close to Huangpu Tianyuan as the latter and Leng Wucheng looked on with worry. The 4 demons were notorious. They were madmen doing whatever whenever, regardless of circumstances and orders. They were a bigger threat than even Zhuo Fan. The Crown Prince ran to Zhuo Fan and cupped his hands. Steward Zhuo, today is Luo clan's award ceremony. You can't shed blood. Please cease hostilities and call back your elders. A red sky is an auspicious sky. We should make it so in reality as well. We shall turn the ceremony into a sign of prosperity. Zhuo Fan waved him off with his trademark evil grin. Elder Lei, who was it that struck first? We did it at the same time, but he taunted me first. Li Jingshan answered. In that case, we can't turn back as cowards. Zhuo Fan laughed. Elders, it's showtime. Zhuo Fan gave the start with his left hand, turning into the earth dragon claw while his right shined. Li Jingshan grinned and black energy roamed. Zhu Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai held hands as fire and water fused, releasing waves upon waves of power. At such a display of power and glancing at the 4 black spots in the sky, Huangpu Finglay felt like crying. What is wrong with today? They only wanted to cut some of the Luo clan's momentum and curb the new house's development. So how did it turn the other way around with us getting curbed? Not to mention this had stopped being a mere beating. They already had a casualty. If this went on, Luo clan's fiends would kill them all. They were all hoping their allies would back them up, but Hell Valley, Pill King Hall, and Mary Woods, who usually cheered them on every chance they got, now looked anywhere but here. No help was coming from them, that was for sure. The Luo clan and Regent Estates war had had them lose too much already, and now that the Luo clan had come in full force, they'd be dumber than a rock getting caught up in that maelstrom of carnage. Estates people looked around tensely. They were in a real bind here. They had the numbers, true, but the enemy had the quality. Albeit less than 10, but against them, they didn't dare make rash decisions. More importantly, they were being singled out. Alone, they'd be easy pickings. Not that going as a team would make much of a difference when the enemy used a unity tactic. They were at a severe disadvantage. Looking at the 4 balls of blackness in the air, then at the grinning Zhuo Fan, Huangpu Tianyuan's heart shivered. The 4 demons moved like ghosts, elusive and deadly. Raging Ancestor and Ice Moon, which united, had their power multiplied, with hardly anyone hoping of getting near them. Mad Dipper Li Jingshan needed no introduction from the astonishing display earlier and was on par with their high venerable. While the last, Zhuo Fan, was the freakiest of all. He clearly had a power beyond Huangpu Finglei. In this particular hopeless situation, the best outcome would be with both sides sporting heavy losses and neither getting a clear advantage over the other. Especially when the Regent Estate's 1,000-year-long legacy was on the line here, about to be burned to the ground. He never thought nor hoped to be in such a crisis. That beside the imperial family, Tianyu had another house who could push them back. Huangpu Tianyuan's heart was torn with anxiety. He kept giving Leng Wucheng the eye. He just wasn't about to let Regent Estate fall under his leadership. He just couldn't accept it. The Crown Prince was tense as well. These 2 houses were about to jump at each other's throat, with no one to mediate. Where in the name of all that's holy had those damn divine dragons gone off to? What would become of the imperial family's public view when an all-out skirmish took place in their backyard? Or front yard, to be precise, right under the emperor's nose. Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui were watching from afar. They were in awe of the Luo clan's military might, but stayed put, waiting for the spark to blow this place sky high. As for the audience, they were smart enough to clear the heck out of there. And only after all safety precautions were taken and a very solid cover in front did they begin to enjoy the bustle. In one corner, they had a house with 1,000-years-old history, and in the other was an up-and-coming behemoth. It doesn't get any better than this. As for who would ultimately be crowned head of houses, clans, and the like, they were very much looking forward to seeing it. The common clans weren't the only ones. The other houses looked tensely at the standoff as well, observing as the situation devolved or evolved. Luo clan's power blew their minds, which had made the future house contest all the more confusing. Who would be the final winner? Earlier, the odds were 7-30 in Regent Estate's favor, but now they looked pretty much even. Luo clan had given them the shock of a lifetime. Leng Wucheng's eyes roamed about and then settled on his target. Steward Zhuo, is it all right to do this? We both know how this is going to end. You're not the one to go to war knowing there's a third party involved and risk losing everything. Perhaps not, Zhuo Fan taunted with his cryptic smile. His eyes flashed. Sir Leng, there's a difference between me, you and Zhu Chengfeng. I'm not all brain and no brawn. Sometimes I go a little nuts, you see. It's normal. I'm sure you understand this by now, having felt it on your own skin, ha ha ha. Leng Wucheng's face twitched and anger spiked. He understood all right. Zhuo Fan was hinting at the esoteric debate where he went berserk. At the time, Zhuo Fan, in his madness, carried out his vendetta regardless of tricks or the bigger picture. He was quite conceited of himself back then, but now it somehow became Zhuo Fan's cover, rendering all his readings of the steward void. With enough brawn, one would lose their head, so much so they didn't care about their own lives. They'd be willing to take the fall as long as they could take down the opponent with them. Against a man without restraints, the crazier he was, the more horrifying he became. With nothing in this world to chain him down, you'd have no idea what insane idea he'd come up with next, and that was Zhuo Fan. If his revenge had yet to cool down back in the esoteric debate, he might really engage in this battle, regardless of a third party. Then they'd both lose. To the Luo clan, a new house that was quite a good ending, while for Regent Estate, having a long history behind them, the resentment couldn't be imagined. Leng Wucheng sighed then. What would make you step down? Regent Estate's people were stunned. The great Leng Wucheng was actually negotiating his terms of surrender? This has never happened. Not even Regent Estate's people had experienced a case like this. He'd never submit even in front of the estate lord. With a creepy grin plastered on his face, Zhuo Fan held his head high and began, to be perfectly honest, our 2 houses are now in a standoff because of your taunt. If you want to give up, it couldn't be easier. Apologize, apologize. Regent Estate shivered to the very core as every one of them glared back. Regent Estate had been the head of all clans for 1,000 years. All its actions were beyond reproach and righteous. Even if they weren't, who would do anything about it? Yet now they were being asked to apologize. Wasn't that a poorly disguised surrender? How would they get the nerve to get out into the world after this? Not that Zhuo Fan gave a hoot about how they fumed. As for your sincerity, just wing it. Humph, you take that apology and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. We'd rather choose death before dishonor. You and me, little demon, we're gonna settle this right here. An aged voice spat as he charged. Going by the readings on his power surge, one would place him in the 6th layer of Radiant Stage. Don't take him on by yourself, Ling Wucheng cried for naught. The man got to Zhuo Fan, his golden glow revved up, dragon roars in the background, and even the space fizzling out as he punched Zhuo Fan. Any other guy out there would have been a smear on the ground long before he was even hit, but he was dealing with Zhuo Fan. Lifting his right arm, the red glow flashed for a second, and Zhuo Fan stopped the attack just like that. That mighty fist softly landed in his palm. Before he could get another swing in, Zhu Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai attacked with their hands united. Life and death art, fire and ice combined to release an unspeakable power. It shot a blinding white light, swallowing the man and catapulting him into the sky. With a fairly loud bang, the sky itself shook, and the Radiant Stage expert was robbed of his last chance at wailing, pulverized. Not a sign of him was left that he ever even existed. One blow, SSS gasps resounded everywhere. Everyone knew of the might of this old couple, but their expectations were blown at the display of a unity tactic. Fear was etched on their faces, especially on Huangpu Finglay. Not even he could take that. Why is the Luo clan a den of monsters? Li Jingshan grinned, taking on a cocky air as he heckled Huangpu Finglay. High Venerable, see that. That's why we side with the Luo clan. Huangpu Finglay was floored. Did the Luo clan have much stronger cultivation methods than the imperial family and regent estate? They'd have to reevaluate their power if it were true. This also snuffed out the last hope of victory regent estate had. Huangpu Finglay paled as he nodded to Huangpu Tianyuan. Yield, Huangpu Tianyuan gasped, his fists clenched, nails digging into his palm. But in the end, he shouted, "Everyone, listen up." With a trembling lip, Huangpu Tianyuan found it unbearably hard to open his mouth and spoke those humiliating words. All he could do was make a deep bow. It was plain to see his meaning, and even the rest felt a little humiliated too. But when they saw their estate lord lower his head, they couldn't say anything and bowed as well. Ling Wucheng felt his heart bleeding, but he was all out of options. This was the only way out. Giving up before the madman found a reason to go crazy was the best outcome. Ling Wucheng bowed as well, speaking for Huangpu Tianyuan. "Steward Zhu, it was I who offended you. Please forgive me." Every clan looked at them stunned. The head of houses, regent estate, surrendered to a new house. This had never happened ever. The regent estate was stuck up even before the imperial family, but before Zhuo Fan they had completely yielded. The 3 princes were speechless. Luo clan's fame had reached an all-time high. "So you can learn," Zhuo Fan nodded, satisfied, "as long as you know your faults and keep them in mind for the future." The 7, no, from today it should be 8. The head of the 8 houses is no longer the regent estate, but Luo clan. Zhuo Fan finished with a laugh, a snap of his finger, and a spin on his heel before leaving. The 4 scheming demons landed, along with the other elders. Everyone walked on victorious towards Luo Yuncheng. The people witnessing this miracle felt hope surging in their chests, while the rest of the houses were utterly speechless and stunned to even react. The head of the 7 houses, regent estate, had humble pie shoved down their throats before the entire empire, and even had their head title stolen by the new house. "Elder Chu, is that our ally?" A lady among Drifting Flowers Edifice's disciples asked Chu Bijan. Grandmother nodded happily. "Venerable Bing, it is." "Good, Elder Chu, we truly bet on a treasure this time. There's hope for Drifting Flowers Edifices to rise again." Grandmother smiled. Cheers exploded at Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquise Abode houses as well, while only Pill King Hall and Mary Woods looked positively glum. Regent Estate's decline meant the fall of their backer. As for Hell Valley, they looked on with a cold eye, having already found their path. Who'd have thought that secretive kid from Luo clan would reveal his entire hand only now? A truly unpredictable man. In the imperial palace, Zhuge Chengfeng stood on a 100-meter-tall gate tower, watching, sighing. Next to him were the yin-yang elders. With a frown, the white-haired elder's eyes turned hard. How did he reach such an inconceivable level? It's mind-boggling. It makes me recall that man. You mean, The black-haired elder's eyes flashed, and he shuddered at the mere mention. Invincible scamp Gu Santong, the other nodded. Besides that little devil, I've never seen anyone in the profound heaven stage capable of taking a peak radiant stage expert's attack with such ease. It used to be only him, but now, ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan is far worse than Gu Santong. Zhu Chengfeng smiled. Gu Santong is but a humble man. With a bit of trickery, he'd fall for anything. With the imperial palace trapping him for 300 years, it makes his godlike feat back then look like a lie. He is but a mere child. Zhu Chengfeng's eyes squinted, and he turned to the white-haired figure, but Zhu Fan is a true master of cunning and trickery. To play or con him is harder than taking the throne. Now that he has Gu Santong's power as well, no one in Tianyu can deal with him. The yin-yang elders looked at each other puzzled. The white elder paused then. Prime Minister, didn't you say everything was put in place by the emperor? He wanted to incite the Regent estate and Luo clan to sink further into killing each other. The two were so close to doing it as well, with Zhu Fan's high and mighty display, and killing two of Regent estate's venerables. Doesn't that mean he fell for it? As far as my old eyes see, Leng Wucheng just had to endure, and the two houses would be tearing each other apart by now. Ha ha ha, you guys only see what's in front and not from every angle. Zhu Chengfeng shook his head. The emperor might have set the stage, but couldn't care less about how this drama played out. Be it Zhuo Fan or Leng Wucheng, both are wise enough to see it. Neither of them wishes to fight and to let the emperor win. But with this, Zhuo Fan has found Leng Wucheng's limit. Because of what transpired in the esoteric debate, Zhuo Fan's actions had gone beyond human understanding, leaving Leng Wucheng in the dark about his next move. It had robbed him of his initiative in this situation, ending up getting smacked around like a child. Even if Zhuo Fan had been stronger, he'd still not do it. A trained eye would see that the emperor wanted to use this excuse to force Luo clan to show its hand and thus was a partial winner. While Luo clan used the stage to push back at the Regent estate and shake their public image, also winning some, while only Regent estate, suppressed by a new house, suffered the worst. Ha ha ha. The two elders shivered, eyes stunned. A mere scuffle between the two houses actually had so many implications and consequences, fighting over interests below the surface. If humble people like them were caught up in it, they reckoned they'd be toyed with and spat out mangled. The complexity of the ploys were mind-boggling. Now they understood why Zhuo Fan was more dreadful than Gu Santong. If Gu Santong had but half of Zhuo Fan's smarts, no one could have been able to fool him into ending up trapped. Zhuo Fan was a combination of Leng Wucheng and Gu Santong in one. Prime Minister, it's best this threat is dealt with fast before it affects Sir's plan. The black elder cupped his hands. While the kid isn't invincible, we too can still handle him. Please let us cull him and spare you the suffering. Zhu Chengfeng waved. Now, he isn't my enemy yet, quite the helper in fact. Taking him out earlier will only benefit the others. I don't take kindly to letting others enjoy the fruits of my work. The elders were puzzled. Zhu Chengfeng merely shook his head. I have figured out that old bean's mind. 8 houses, 1,000-year-old secret order, they have all been long in play, ha ha ha. Zhu Chengfeng stepped down the tower. Come, the ceremony is about to begin. The elders followed in silence. In another area, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui saw the two houses cease hostilities. But even with Regent Estate losing 2 venerables, the two were cursing them for being useless and running scared on their way to the imperial palace. Zhuo Fan had rejoined Luo Yuncheng with the elders and went to the 9th gate. Watching the aloof white-haired figure not once glance over, Yangning glared at him annoyed and pouted. Humph, what's with being all pretentious like? You're nothing but a steward of a no-name clan. Yangning, he isn't your normal steward. In his hands, the Luo clan has become Regent Estate's equal. You know what power the Regent Estate has, even we have to show respect. Keep in mind the next time you meet people from the Luo clan to show some courtesy. Crown Prince instructed. Yangning was having none of that. Second Prince came over and looked at Luo clan as he said, Luo clan isn't to be taken lightly. Their steward is a man to befriend. Second brother, don't forget about our imperial family's rules. Leave me be. Second Prince didn't give a damn about the Crown Prince's warning. Princess, are you all right? A shout revealed the child coming running from among the crowd. The princess smiled while the Crown Prince sighed and facepalmed. Almost forgot. Yangning, how did you get out? Snooping. Yangning and the child hanged their heads in shame. Crown Prince turned blue from anger and barked. Yangning, you not only snuck out of the imperial palace by yourself, but even dared to snoop to do it. You're only making it worse for yourself. How's it my fault? The entire imperial palace is filled with tunnels with no guards around them. How else did you expect me to get out with my 5th layer of bone-tempering stage cultivation? Yangning grumbled. Crown Prince was royally pissed now. He couldn't vent as Yuan Kong came laughing. Ha ha ha, eldest brother, breathe, breathe. Sister likes to mess around. The ninth gate will soon open and we'll take her back. What's the point of making the matter worse than it is? Third brother, you're the best. Your head looks like a pig, but your brain is sharper than one, Yangning giggled. Yuan Kong turned cold. Eldest brother, I think handing her over to Imperial Father is best. Ground her for half a year and seal all the tunnels in the Imperial Palace. See how she'll get out then. No, third brother, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't tell the Imperial Father. You're the most handsome man ever, Even more than Zhuo Fan, that had all of them laugh and look at her with a shaking head. They were all brothers and sisters and had no reason to hate each other. After 15 minutes, with a sharp creaking sound, all the gates rumbled open to reveal the refined interior of the Imperial Palace. Open, the 8 houses each had a gate, while the 3 princes and Yangning took the center one. The other clans walked behind the houses as they entered, but this time Regent Estate had far less people following them, even less than the other houses. While Luo clan, a newcomer, had the longest trail, making it hard to even pass the gate. The previous fight had done wonders for the Luo clan's prestige. They all knew Luo clan was above Regent Estate as the new head of all clans and houses. Only around 10 elders, but each was valiant and hardy like true warriors. This also meant that Luo clan cared about quality, not quantity. Following the entrance of the 8 groups into a wide hallway, the 2 sides were lined with guards. From their bearing, it was easy to see that they were hardened soldiers, and one could even detect arrays all over the place. Looking ahead, one could guess them to be above 1,000 in number. Zhuo Fan's eyes trembled, and he nodded inwardly. Based on every house's legacy, the imperial family's legacy ruled supreme. Once they passed the 8 golden bridges, they arrived an hour later before a lofty palace. There, the second of the 4 pillars, Marshal Dugu Zhanshan, was standing guard on the right side of the throne with dragon-slaying crescent blade in hand, while on the left was Prime Minister Zhuge Chengfeng. The 2 looked at Luo clan, Zhuo Fan in particular. Dugu Zhanshan took a deep breath with a calm gaze as Zhuge Chengfeng tended to his beard with a faint smile. With another loud shout, an old man in yellow gown entered their sight. His Majesty has arrived. The 8th Noble House Award ceremony was about to begin. The man in yellow gown walked slowly towards the throne as the servants on either side followed with deep bows. He looked quite thin, but his bright eyes looked at everyone present, lingering ever so slightly longer on the Luo clan. This man was the current emperor of the Tianyu Empire. May your Majesty live a long and prosperous life. The instant he took his seat, the 8 groups bowed. The emperor waved. As everyone knows, I have called you all here today to bear witness and rejoice by the grace of Tianyu's ancestors to the rise of a new house in our empire. Tianyu has survived the past 1,000 years in no small part due to our 7 houses' assistance, bringing stability and prosperity, safeguarding peace along the ages. In all these years, the imperial family dared not neglect its duty, looking for talents to defend the well-being of its people. That is the purpose of the esoteric debate, to see a clan rise up and make Tianyu great. I am sad to say that this has never happened. We are fortunate that the heavens finally took pity on us and my rule, and presented us with a new house, working alongside the 7 houses in strengthening our foundation. This is a blessing to myself, to the nation, and to everyone else. Congratulations, Your Majesty, the land shall grow even stronger. Everyone bowed. Luo clan did the same with humility. We dare not accept Your Majesty's praise. Everyone present knew this was just a high-class act and thus was shortly ignored. Even those who had never seen this new house knew that the 7 houses never stopped fighting among each other since the empire's foundation. What working together, more like stabbing each other's backs. With the coming of the 8th house, the fights would only grow bitter. A prime example was the 2 houses duking it out at the ruler's gates. While the emperor was saying all that, the empire was in fact on the verge of collapse, hanging by a thread. He didn't believe what he himself said, and neither did those people who were bowing. It was all make-believe. Despite all of this, neither side was about to unravel the white lie. These were appearances and decorum that had to be maintained. Or poking holes in the paper-thin charade would lead to Tianyu going up in flames, something no one wanted. The emperor looked at them one more time and smiled, praise heavens. The imperial palace guards came forward and prepared the incense. The emperor bowed before it and even began reading a prayer. It was more or less being thankful to the heavens for the prosperity of Tianyu. While every paper was perused, an hour passed by and the rest rose up along with the emperor. He took his rightful place on the throne with traces of sweat on his brow, a clear indication that he was reaching the limit of his life. He knew that, yet he would still put on a cheerful face. Good, after we showed our respects to heaven and earth, we then have the Son of Heaven, which is myself. Luo clan's head Luo Yunhai stepped forward. Yes, Your Majesty. Luo Yunhai stepped down on one knee. Young Luo Yunhai, your father has been taken from you at an early age, yet with your bravery and resolve, you have led the clan forward alone. You have followed Marshal Dugu in battle and showed marvelous skill in the esoteric debate. You are a true model of Tianyu's heroes. I bestow upon the Luo clan the title of the 8th noble house. Wingei's city shall be your domain along with the 100 cities around it. You shall be known as Regent of Prosperity, allowed to own a prince's manor in the imperial capital. Raising his head, Luo Yunhai was bug-eyed, and so were the rest, looking at the emperor in disbelief. None of them expected for Luo Yunhai to actually become a nobleman and even have a title. Among the 7 houses, only Regent Estate had the marquis title because they were related to the imperial family. But Luo clan was a run-down third-rate clan, and it had just jumped in front of everyone with the title of prince. Only Zhu Chengfeng, Zhuo Fan, and Leng Wucheng understood. The emperor wanted to place the Regent Estate and Luo clan on opposite fronts. Since the world couldn't hold both of them, so too the 8 houses could only have one boss. 2 kings was 1 king too many. The emperor's title came with vile intentions. Not that Zhuo Fan gave a hoot, since his sole plan for Regent Estate was to drag it out, and Regent Estate wasn't about to sway under the emperor's taunt. So when the tripartite division took shape, all those titles became empty words. On the contrary, the 100 cities offered made Zhuo Fan pleased as a punch. What was of greatest importance in the cultivation world? Resources. 100 cities included the mountain range close by and the tens of spirit mines and endless herbs it offered, and all of that was the house's private property. Adding to that a part of the empire as well, Luo clan would soar with so many resources. It would no longer need its allies' support. It had finally gained independence. This was why many clans wanted to curry favor with the houses. Without resources, they'd wither and die, and these resources were either the empires or the houses. Monopoly on the resources controlled Tianyu's clan's development, with Luo clan having 100 cities to its name. If the clans wanted to join it, they'd have to move to the border. Zhuo Fan finally showed a twisted smile. 2 servants came before Luo Yunhai, offering him a golden cape embroidered with a majestic dragon. It only missed the 4 claws, or it'd be just like the prince's. This was a symbol that showed the house was equal to the imperial family, not to mention Luo Yunhai was a regent. "Thank you, your majesty," Luo Yunhai bowed. The emperor nodded and turned to his sister. "Young Miss Luo, come forward." Luo Yuncheng was stunned. A male would take on the mantle of clan head along with titles, so where was he going by calling her? Luo Yuncheng still kneeled. "May your majesty live a long and prosperous life." Luo Yuncheng, dignified and virtuous, strong and loyal. After the misfortune that befell your clan, you held strong against all adversity, raising your little brother and guiding the clan. You are a model of virtue to all of Tianyu. I take you as my goddaughter, naming you Princess Yong'an, and expect you to become a good sister with my daughter Yongning in safeguarding Tianyu. Luo Yuncheng turned to Yongning hiding behind the princes, who stared blankly back at her. Neither expected that from the emperor. They were to be sisters. Your majesty, I would never. This is an imperial decree." The emperor cut her off with a stern face. Luo Yuncheng sighed. "Then I shall accept." The emperor beamed and Luo Yuncheng withdrew. Luo clan steward Zhuo Fan stepped forth. When everyone thought the award ceremony was over, the emperor called one more time. Zhuo Fan was puzzled. He was just a steward, not the Luo clan head. "Why is he giving me something?" But since the emperor decreed, he could only oblige and gave a half-bow. "Mayor, you dare not bow before his majesty." A sharp cry pierced the ears of everyone. Zhuo Fan looked on with a frown at the servant next to the emperor, and his face grew cold. "You're the one with the nerve calling it to attention when the emperor said nothing, trying to kiss someone's ass. Do you think of yourself better than the emperor?" No, his majesty." The servant panicked. They had always been next to the emperor and basked in second-hand glory, getting used to pushing others around. They were proxies dishing out the emperor's orders, but as long as the emperor didn't say anything, anything went. Perhaps they were even doing what his majesty intended, while other scared people never dared to refute in fear of the emperor's anger. But Zhuo Fan was a tough nut to crack. Would the grand demonic emperor from the sacred domain kneel before a no-name emperor from the mortal domain? The servant was way out of his leg messing with him, especially when he knew the emperor needed him and wouldn't sweat this particular detail. The emperor waved and smiled at Zhuo Fan. "Then, Zhuo Fan, why do you not kneel?" "My knees are wounded." "With your majesty's brilliant and wise character, I'm sure you won't pressure the future house's steward." Zhuo Fan's words were a work of art, throwing the emperor's words right back at him. "In layman's terms, you just called us irreplaceable in order to strengthen the nation's foundation. So why the hell would you nitpick? Only a poor ruler would do that. Won't that shame you? Won't you lose Tianyu's respect?" Those words even contained a hint of threat. Luo Yuncheng lowered her head, filled with worry and anger at Zhu Fan's crass act. Before the mighty emperor, you kneel when spoken to. What the hell are you doing looking for an early death? Offending the imperial family will give us a death sentence. She was unaware that this was a fine balance not even the emperor wished to break. Since he didn't want to let Regent Estate come out on top, hence Zhu Fan's leverage was very much real. Giving him a long look, the emperor smiled. You truly are a worthy steward for the Luo clan, Zhu Fan. Your reputation precedes you. Then Zhu Fan will receive your title. The emperor coughed and shouted, Steward Zhu Fan of the Luo clan, you are a man of bravery and wisdom, holding your clan together through hard times, loyal and caring, a pillar of the empire. I bestow upon you the title Best Steward under Heavens, wielding the power of the 3 armies and the bearer of my authority. SSS the people gasped in shock, even Zhu Fan. What did the Best Steward under Heavens mean? His orders were second to the emperor in court, and he was the supreme commander of the 3 armies. He was literally beneath the emperor and above the world. He was the epitome of power, a prime minister and marshal in one, albeit with the emperor standing above him still. With how the imperial reign was built on this authority alone, it was no different than capitulating the very ground that was holding his throne. Dugu Zhanshan's eyes twitched, looking at the emperor with a dumb look. Zhu Chengfeng was doing the same, albeit with a casual glance. The geezer's plan is obvious. He wants to give Zhu Fan a power even above that of the 4 pillars. As a prime minister, he had figured out the old schemer on the spot. The emperor wanted to balance the factions. His reign had been steady all these years because of Dugu Zhanshan and me. But won't this trouble addict, who goes on withdrawal if he doesn't cause a mess once every 3 days, have all this power go to his head and blow everything sky high? Or maybe, Zhu Chengfeng squinted, scoffing inside, the old coot can't take it anymore. He wants to speed up the chaos by getting the monkey added incentive to do just that and flip the board while he is at it. While Leng Wucheng tensed, his heart was resentful. He had already guessed what the emperor was up to, but that didn't mean he liked it. He was Regent Estate's steward, the one famed across the whole empire as unwanted contriver. Yet for a neophyte to suddenly call himself best steward under heavens didn't sit quite right with him, to say the least. Though Zhu Fan's deceit and shrewdness had him pensive, by right, that title should be his. Sunk into depression, Leng Wucheng took a deep breath twice to regain his cool. He looked at Zhu Fan with jealousy and greed. Present the violet mantle, the emperor had spoken. A servant responded on point, presenting a plate with a purple cape and golden thread. The cape was unraveled, presenting a golden dragon with its 4 claws in the corners, while also a hint of a possible 5th claw on a visibly empty pattern. The imperial family's robe was characterized by dragon claws. It was a symbol of their rank, authority, and power. 4 made one a prince, while 5 lifted him to be the son of heaven, an emperor. This cape was proof that Zhu Fan was just shy of having the entire empire at his feet. Such controversy would never have stood, since it held a strong feeling of outrage and rebellion against the current court. Yet the emperor himself bestowed Zhu Fan with this contradiction. It went on to show that along with the best steward under heavens, Zhu Fan was truly beneath the emperor in both name and power. Not even the 7 houses, princes, or even crown prince could compare. Crown Prince trembled and finally fell to one knee. Imperial father, this is most unbecoming. Please reconsider. The rest followed his example, shouting in unison, Please reconsider, your majesty. I order you to stand down. The emperor's piercing cold tones sent shivers down their backs. They could not defy him. The emperor was the son of heaven. His word was solid gold. No man could sway his mind. They were all awakened to this simple yet painful truth, knowing any persuasion would fall on deaf ears. Without further ado, Zhu Fan was entitled as the first steward beneath heaven, his glorious radiance stabbing the eyes of all below, while also pricking no few hearts with discontent. Now that Zhu Fan had both power and right, any defiance would be ill-advised, in a manner of speaking. He could stick the imperial family's army on anyone's ass at the drop of a hat. Pil King Hall and Mary Woods exchanged a pained glance. They never gave Zhu Fan and Luo clan a second thought up till now, yet against fierce adversity they had become a behemoth. If only they'd known, they'd have it snuffed in its cradle. Regent Estate took this news quite well, too well in fact. That was because they knew something everyone else didn't. Zhu Fan's title was totally void of authority. The emperor didn't stop at Zhu Fan's cape, showering the other high-value members of the Luo clan with a title each, albeit far lesser than the first 3. It was all so that the people would recognize who the Luo clan was, to open their beady eyes in the face of greatness and not step on their toes. Even still, there was one teeny-tiny matter that had everyone's dumbstruck faces on full display. While Pil King Hall and Drifting Flowers edifices were slack-jawed, Luo clan's second elder, Pil House Elder, was vicious Pil King Yan's song. Even the emperor was taken aback. Didn't Zhuo Fan waste him? What's he doing as Luo clan's elder? The emperor gave Zhuo Fan a deep look. Steward Zhuo, you fooled the entire world for 8 years with your devious schemes. Just how many secrets are you hiding? Ha ha ha, please don't kid your majesty. With your majesty's astute mind, how could I possibly hide anything? Zhuo Fan bowed. The emperor shook his head. He wouldn't be the emperor if he believed every outright lie. This kid's tricks are so twisted even I am getting a headache. With inconceivable matters cropping up one after another, fear crept within the emperor's heart. Without even realizing it, this pawn he nurtured for so long had outgrown his control. I hope this game will still play out. The emperor sighed inwardly. After 4 to 6 hours of dishing awards and titles, the ceremony came to a close. The emperor had the clans leave the imperial palace, but not without a bow from them and a deep respect towards the Luo clan. This new house was budding, yet it was very much capable. It had both experts and alchemists at the top of their fields. Even their steward had surpassed the wisest steward of all, unwanted contriver, and became known as the best steward beneath heavens. A team such as this, excelling in power and management, was bound to hit it big. There were quite a number of clans entertaining the thought of bending a knee for the Luo clan after the ceremony. That went double after seeing their ranks. Of the Luo clan's elders, Lei Yunshin was the weakest, yet a grand elder. Second elder Yan Song was even in front of those radiant stage experts. These two were a complete discrepancy for the powerhouses around them. That lineup was like a flare to the people. This told everyone that the Luo clan was an honorable clan. First come, first served. Then again, one would always pick a true helper in favor of opposer. This had the clans competing to get into the Luo clan's graces rather than see it played out first. Luo clan had it made, no doubt about it. Luo clan was also the only one who made such strong elders work. All made possible by the grace and power of their steward Zhuo Fan. Was there anyone among the elders who dared show discontent for their positions? To another clan, such a huge discrepancy in power would have ended up in infightings. Didn't might always make right, yet in the Luo clan, that right was worth sht any, and all that dared preach such an outdated philosophy were served a huge piece of humble pie on a silver platter. Zhuo Fan, walk with me. Zhuo Fan was leaving with the Luo clan when an aged voice called him. He turned to meet the emperor's steel gaze. With a deep breath and a nod, as if expecting it, he went with the old man. The two arrived at a pavilion in the imperial gardens. The emperor took a seat on a stone chair and invited him to do the same. This is where I and Mr. Sima play chess. Here, we're simple people without rank. Please make yourself at home. With a raised eyebrow, Zhuo Fan plopped his butt on the chair, then took a casual bite out of a fruit he picked from the platter. He really was at home. The servant at the side almost blew a gasket. That was His Majesty's courtesy, not for you to take it literally. Not even Mr. Sima, being friends with His Majesty for ages, would be so crass. Not that the emperor cared, smiling as a grandpa did for his dotted grandson. Zhuo Fan, I've heard so much about you, but this is our first meeting. The emperor smiled. Zhuo Fan just nodded. The emperor laughed. I first heard of you from my third son. He said that Luo clan has a clever steward helping them and that I needn't worry. Thus I supported this new clan. As for your ability, I never gave it a second thought. How strong can a third-rate broken-up clan's clever steward become? I mean, the scope was just so limited, it was impossible for it to grow. Wouldn't you agree? The emperor chatted as he looked at Zhuo Fan with a smile. Zhuo Fan gave a curt nod again. Sure enough, before meeting face to face, all information was about the clan itself. How one's view changed depended on one's position. Since no clan had ever come out of a border town like Wingay City, what scope, what ambition could this one have? Even he would jump to the same conclusion given the chance. He'd have the same disinterest in Luo clan and himself upon hearing of them. It was this lack of vigilance that made people like him be the ones in control. Or if Hell Valley or any other house focused on his clan, death was certain, unable to grow into what it was today. There was no one to blame here. Hell Valley was not some fool to let the Luo clan slip through its fingers. It was Zhuo Fan's uncanny mind to come up with some of the most insane and mystifying plans. City gave me quite a shock. With a deep breath, the emperor looked to the heavens. A faint smile traced across his face. The only thing on my mind in those days was how could the third mind of Tianyu, Hell Valley's schemer, die at the hands of a nobody. It was then that I began to take notice of you. I reckon I was among the minority who held you in such high regard. Zhuo Fan secretly sighed. He planned to keep his head low back then, to build up his strength and avoid unwelcome scrutiny. But the Ninger showed up and the circumstances forced him to go all out. Then Hell Valley followed up with their kill order, harassing him on every step. Come to think of it, he wasn't all that level-headed as he believed, but a mindless savage charging through. But I liked the charge, so staunch, so invigorating. In reply to his thoughts, the emperor patted his shoulder. You don't have to feel sorry, I understand. A patient man like you would never face such strong enemies so early. But as gold can't dull its radiance, or how a diamond can't hide among the sand, you too will meet with these events, whether you like it or not. Only your radiance is perhaps a bit too gaudy. Even I was almost blinded, ha ha ha. The emperor continued, after my poor heart calmed down at last, months later you pulled another one. You wrecked Drifting Flower City and killed 3 house elders. That scared me. I wanted to build the Luo clan up to strike a balance, but you, the chick I had been raising, almost bit a wolf to death. You were close to ruining everything. I was wondering if renouncing your clan would be the better part of valor. Many apologies, Your Majesty. I was too reckless and almost wasted Your Majesty's hard work. I am ashamed of myself. Zhuo Fan bowed slightly and cupped his hands, yet his mind was thinking the opposite. His words feel sincere but lack any truth. He goes on and on about balance and stuff, but from today's attitude, he wants anything but all he wants is chaos. Actions speak louder than any sweet words. Zhuo Fan had drilled this lesson into Lei Yuding for years, being a devoted follower of this saying himself. Hence, in reply to the emperor's convoluted speech, his mind was that of a mirror not so easily pulled under. The emperor's eyes shined with wisdom, then he laughed, ha ha ha, it's fine, it's all in the past anyway. It was only then that I realized my son was right. You truly are a man of many talents. How else could you have incited so much chaos? And so, I came to a bold and radical decision. Do you know why I sent Marshal Dugu to Wingei's city for rescue? I am moved to tears by Your Majesty's extreme favor for my Luo clan. Zhuo Fan's bow was on point. Shaking his head, the emperor gave a vague smile. No, it wasn't for the Luo clan, but for you. I am shocked and dare not accept such praise. Ha ha ha, is there anything you won't dare to do? I wholly appreciate your strength. The next set of events only proved that my decision to send 1,000,000 soldiers in defense of one man was the right approach. You haven't let me down. He held Zhuo Fan's shoulder, showering him in praise. Zhuo Fan lowered his head. The emperor squinted, watching, scrutinizing, and only now he came back to the main topic. Zhuo Fan, I have called you here to come to an understanding between us. Command me, Your Majesty. Zhuo Fan's bow came again. What do you think of becoming the Prime Minister? Shuddering, Zhuo Fan was stunned inside, but he put on a quizzical face. Your Majesty, the Empire already has Prime Minister Zhuge. Why? Ha ha ha, of the Empire's 3 great minds, Yugiki only knew how to manipulate and scheme, a disgrace. Leng Wucheng has the talent, but a petty character that lacks any drive. Prime Minister Zhuge is the best candidate, holding his office for decades, his conduct exemplary. Only, he is just like me, old. Once I'm gone, am I to just leave an old man behind as support, to drag his feet and the nation? It is not something I want to see, and I'm sure my successor would be in agreement as well. Quirking an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan got the gist. The emperor wanted to pave the way for his son, the new emperor. As with any new emperor who took over the throne, their position will be shaky. With a wily old fox like Zhu Chengfeng around, with a cunning mind and wielder of power, the emperor's 3 sons would fall like flies. It would be an age of a weak ruler with strong followers. How could the Yuan clan ever hold on to Tianyu? Ha ha ha, it'll change hands, of course. This was where Zhuo Fan came in. He had no basis in the court, so even if a new emperor cropped up, the case would be that of a strong ruler and a weak follower, him ending up as the new emperor's pawn. On the other hand, Zhuo Fan was more than capable of filling the job of handling national affairs. Getting a third-rate clan to become a house in a mere decade tended to give one just enough credibility. So when the emperor came up with this proposition, he took everything into account. Staring straight at him, the emperor spoke. Zhuo Fan, I've seen the path you've taken to reach here. You are no weaker than Zhu Chengfeng, perhaps even better. At your age, he was but an ignorant bookworm. I believe you will surpass him in the future and become an even better leader of the 4 pillars. You becoming a prime minister will benefit the whole nation. I have made you the best steward beneath heavens. Also, you could guide Tianyu's future for me. The emperor's eyes were honest. Zhuo Fan's eyes shook. He couldn't see through him, but one thing he did know. The emperor definitely had something else stored in his mind, and it was time to lay it out in the open. But Your Majesty, as you know, I have a dragon soul. Being in court, won't I and the imperial family collide? Zhuo Fan was quite tactful, yet it held the same meaning as Huangpu Kingshan back then. Providence made me king, yet you're not scared I'd take it all away? Ha ha ha. The emperor was calm. Dragon Vane's soul is a creature of the world. My family had it quelled for generations to safeguard Tianyu's prosperous future. By itself, it means nothing. Why else would we place Regent Estate as a guardian of caged dragon city, yet be fearless of them taking the dragon souls for themselves and stealing our rule? Remind me again, who was it that killed Huangpu Kingshan, the one calling himself heaven's gift upon this world, he who had a dragon's soul as well? Ha ha ha, destiny has always been in our own two hands. If posterity works hard and loves their nation, Tianyu will thrive, its people will be happy. But if an unruly successor is brash and decadent, how can Tianyu survive? Destiny, heaven, all are empty words. If I advocate such superstition, I wouldn't have needed to work myself to the bone over its future, now would I? Zhuo Fan nodded. This emperor's words make damn perfect sense. Even he believed it. As what was cooking in the old head of this emperor, not even he knew. In the end, Zhuo Fan cupped his hands. Your Majesty, give me some time to consider. Sure, take all the time you need. Though I do hope you will serve your country and live up to the title I've bestowed upon you. The emperor gave a genial smile. Even Zhuo Fan was slightly touched. If everything the emperor said today were lies, then he was no emperor but an evil spawn. Zhuo Fan took his leave with a bow. The emperor watched him go with a peculiar smile. Whoosh. Two old men appeared on his sides, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui. After a customary bow, Sima Hui began, Your Majesty, the princess has returned safely. Yangning only knows how to make me worry. If not for Zhuo Fan, God knows what would have happened to her. Sighing, he brightened. He sure was fond of this willful daughter of his. Fang Qiubai sighed. I had never dreamt Zhuo Fan would reach such power in just a few days. I fear he has already surpassed us. What a little monster. Humph, why stop there? He is clearly like the peak radiant stage Zhuge Changfeng versed in pen and the sword. The emperor squinted, then was taken by a coughing fit. Cough, bring me a quill and paper. Yes, the servant complied at once. The emperor wrote just a few big words on the paper, his sons' names. His eyes grew heavy looking at them, but they steeled in the end. Tell me everything that's happened, including the three's reactions. Yes, Fang Qiubai presented the whole affair at the 9 gates with intricate detail. The emperor grumbled to himself, then picked up a red quill and hovered over the crown prince's name. One must be collected, to have a way with words, to adhere to the ancestors' teachings. These are the qualities of a ruler, he said as he circled the name 3 times, yet sighed in the end. But why do I feel you're being so stubborn? You will tire the people, sigh. The emperor then crossed him out once and went to his second son's name to circle it twice. You are bold and benevolent, firm and ambitious, yet rude, rash and greedy. One day you will end up being used, humph. The emperor crossed him 3 times, his beard trembling in anger. He is not fit for power. Finally coming onto the 3rd name, he hesitated, yet only drew a question mark. Your Majesty, what? Fang Qiubai was stunned. The emperor spoke. I know you side with him, but my 3 sons need to be observed for longer, especially the 3rd. I fail to comprehend him. Lest the road I've paved with so much sweat and blood will lead to the nation's collapse in the hands of a decadent successor, and I will never know rest. Sighing, the emperor grew sad. He wished there was one among his sons just half as shrewd as Zhuo Fan. He would then pass on his title in peace. City, I've heard so much about the great Luo clan and wish to give my respects to the young regent. Please pass this message along. A youth in lavish clothes stood before a lofty gate as he made a deep bow to Pangye. He had just finished when a kick smacked his ass way out of bounds. A wretched man spat in contempt. Humph, another 3rd-rate clan comes out of the woodworks to latch onto the Luo clan. Not on my watch. The man switched to an amiable face on the spot as he presented a vial to Pangye. He, I hail from the Bai clan of Cold Edge City. I only wish to have the fortune of serving the Luo clan. Please send my kind regards. This is a 5th-grade pill, Heaven Pill. It will assist you in entering the profound heaven stage. I'm sure you must find my meager goodwill laughable. Not before getting cut off with a resounding slap to the face, which sent him spinning 3 meters into the air with a swelling face. In his place was an upright and icy old man, Humph by clan, just some thieves under Hell Valley now wanting to get into the region of prosperity's good graces. That's the same as letting a spy in. My humble self comes from Seashore City's Wang clan. I will never allow such a disgrace to foul my eyes. The old man walked forth aloof and self-important, flicking his sleeve and bearing only respect. I pledge my life to safeguard the Luo clan. I will make sure no bastard sets foot in. PFF. The old guy's act was cut short with a groan. He looked behind him to see a rough palm slam his chest. Captain Peng eyed him coldly, his smile wicked. Did I let you in? He put more force into his hand and threw the old guy a dozen meters. The old man crawled to his feet and started cursing. How can you resort to violence so easily, attacking when you feel like it? I even helped you get rid of a spy. You mean that guy? Captain Peng mocked. What spy is he when we haven't even taken him in yet? The old guy was about to yap on, but the flood of people came from behind in waves. The crafty ones even kicked him for good measure, to lessen the competition. Damn geezer, don't take the high road with me for your own social climbing. Your Wang clan must really want to get in the Luo clan's graces to have come so early. Yes, so stop blocking the way. We, the Fang clan, pledge ourselves as Luo clan's errand boys. We call dibs. Oh, Captain Pang, here is my clan's legacy, a fourth-grade spiritual weapon. Please pass this message to the regent. Pei, you call that a gift? The Luo clan, head of the 8 noble houses, uses them for toothpicks. Captain Pang, I present to you a genuine and uncontested 6th-grade heavenly treasure. I hope you could put in a few words for us to the young regent. In front of the huge building, people were coming from all around in droves, turning the entrance into a flea market. The plaque above the gate had Regent of Prosperity's compound written on it in bright gold. It was the place that the emperor bestowed upon Luo Yunhai in the imperial capital. By the way, it was also his current address. With the Luo clan receiving the greatest honor in the ceremony, not that the power it displayed while sitting on the head of the 7 houses had anything to with it, they were, by right, uplifted to the rank of the head of the 8 houses. Hence your run-of-the-mill Arivist clans rushed in like moths to the flame for a chance to serve under the new young regent, wanting their fame and power to rub off on them too, to bask in second-hand authority, to ride their coattails and to push other people around for a change. But with how a literal flood was at their gates and Zhuo Fan had yet to return, Luo Yuncheng dropped the headache on Captain Pang to stem the waterworks. Yet these guys didn't know when to quit, sticking around despite any harsh rebuttal, as if the only way forward was to be on the Luo clan's side. Captain Pang was laughing it up inside. He'd be touched if it happened when the Luo clan was in dire straits, but now humph, they're nothing more than selfish pricks. This is. A bewildered voice announced Zhuo Fan's coming, guided here by an imperial servant, but the horde of people had him blank out for a second there. He got the drift the next second though, sigh, the world is full of hypocrites. It's the best steward beneath heavens, Steward Zhuo. Someone noticed Zhuo Fan and shrieked like a fangirl, setting him in the sights of the mob. Steward Zhuo, take us in. My clan is eternally loyal to yours. Steward Zhuo, forget about him, take me. My clan is first-rate, an asset in battle. We'll charge the enemy alongside and will fulfill your orders to the letter. On and on it went as the human sea outdid itself in being first. They almost had Zhuo Fan swallowed in the maelstrom. Their fanatic and crazed looks were burning his skin. Face twitching, Zhuo Fan's choice was for his right eye to flash golden and poof out of existence. Divine Eye of the Void's first stage shift, whoosh and wink back into existence next to Captain Pang. Stop them, Zhuo Fan said as he went inside. Captain Pang grinned, not to worry, not a single one will pass me. The crazed fan base saw their quarry gone from their sight and were bug-eyed. That's Steward Zhuo's power, that's so awesome. Some girls swooned, too cool, Zhuo Fan, I want your babies. That gave the start to the second wave upon the Regent compound's gates, but old faithful Captain Pang barred their way as well. The Wraith art had toughened him up more than enough to make sure not a single rat snuck in. Leaving the crazed mob behind, Zhuo Fan walked towards the gate while still hearing their frantic calls. Luo clan was now the big cheese in town. From big to small, from court to independent officials, everyone looked at it with reverence. It had been his goal all along, and yet he couldn't stem the worry gnawing his mind. He knew the old adage well, after woe came weal, yet the opposite applied just the same. They were in vogue across the entire nation, close to being a national role model, but this fame could very well turn bleak very fast. I bet that old emperor can't wait for us to fall. Zhuo Fan bore a cold smile. Too bad that the Luo clan has me as their steward. It will never conform to your wishes. You're not the only player on the national chessboard. I am as well. He stuck out his chest and strutted into the lounge. Besides the Luo siblings, there were some old friends waiting, his 3 allies. Zhuo Fan, you're back at last. We've been waiting for ages. Luo Yuncheng went ahead to welcome him with a sweet smile. Zhuo Fan smiled back and greeted everyone with cupped hands. Forgive my late arrival. That old coot just kept running his mouth, forcing me to make you all wait. Ha ha ha. Long Yifi and the others were about to give a courteous reply, but the words got stuck in their throat. Across the whole of Tianyu, the only guy who had the balls to call the emperor an old coot would probably be him alone. His outstanding peers, Long Xingyun and Zai Tiancheng, were there as well, but were sharp enough to keep quiet. They were still vexed whether Zhuo Fan was still their peer. Sure, the age fits, but what about their levels? He's so awesome, going about doing this and that, not putting anyone in his eyes. So why is it that we have to be cautious all the time stuck behind him? Guess the fact that his current achievement was all done with his own 2 hands had something to do with it. While they had their house behind them, he had to carry himself, yet had still achieved the impossible. Such a gap couldn't be bridged. The thought had these young heroes fall into depression. God, all these comparisons are mortifying. Luo Yuncheng looked off too. Pinching him with all she had, can't you be more considerate? Do you want to die defaming the emperor all the time? Don't tell me you're afraid of Pavilion Lord Long and the rest ratting on us. Zhuo Fan giggled at them. The old guys shook their heads at once. How could we? Brother Zhuo, please don't joke. Zhuo Fan eyed them. I am not one to pay attention to my tone, you know, but that doesn't make me a fool. At least I know how to choose my words. I only said that about the emperor knowing fully well that you won't snitch. Like I said once, you've helped me over the last decade, and the Luo clan will become your strongest backer. The 10 years have yet to pass, but Luo clan has already become the only house capable of standing against the regent estate. If Luo clan falls, what about all of you? We are now roped together in this. There's no way for you to sell me out, so I trust you the most, am I right? Zhuo Fan laughed, slowly devolving into a cackle. All while the oldies bobbed their heads, they felt quite awkward before this new house. Now that Luo clan was far above them, with a whole future ahead of it, they felt insecure, thinking they'd be thrown away like dead weights. This guy has done in 10 years what we couldn't in 1,000. Is there anything he can't do? All the more reason that these veterans, instead of having the same guts they showed before Regent Estate, made double sure to weigh every word and gesture before letting it out. That went double for Zhuo Fan. It dawned on them that Zhuo Fan's ever self-important reaction, his kingly air, was on a whole another level than even Huangpu Tianyuan or Leng Wucheng. Reading them like a book, Zhuo Fan smiled. No need to be so tense. We're all old friends having gone through thick and thin. Luo clan will never forget that. Unlike Regent Estate, you can feel safe with us. We won't turn on you once we reach the top. Oh, how come I don't see Edifice Lord Chu? To ease the tense mood, Zhuo Fan switched topics. Yet this question had grandmother and the rest sputtering, trying to find the right answer. Did something happen? Zhuo Fan's heart tightened. Grandmother shook her hands with a dry laugh. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhuo, she's fine. She's just in seclusion. Seclusion. The esoteric debate has ended and the strife of the 8 houses has begun. What's she, the house lord, doing goddamn secluding herself? His stare bore into grandmother's group, noticing their reactions were off. He knew something was up. But his questioning was cut off by the sudden booming voice of old Pang. Their highnesses, the crown prince and third prince, have arrived. Startled, Long Yifei and the rest looked on curiously. The crown prince always abides by his ancestors' teachings and hardly ever visits the noble houses. Why is this time different, openly disobeying the tradition and coming to the 8th house? Grandmother gave Zhuo Fan a hard look and drew a conclusion. Either he must feel his position threatened and was forced to intervene, or the Luo clan must be so radiant that even the grand crown prince has to bask in its glory. Scratching his nose, Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. I've seen him once and he left me with an impression. He sticks to ethics, treating everyone fair, but he does it all with a clear purpose in mind. He is subtle and sharp and won't get himself dragged into the house's strife. He's more of an old fox watching the fire burn from the sidelines, yet he took the initiative of coming here by himself to get close to us. He has a clear objective in mind. As to what, we'll just have to wait and see. His allies nodded. Zhuo Fan was cunning to the bone and calm even in this situation, earning their admiration. Steward Zhuo, His Highness Crown Prince, has come to pay the Luo house a social visit, but he is sure to want to discuss something secret as well. It's best if we take our leave first, Zai Xiaofeng said. Zhuo Fan nodded, having Yan Fu lead them to another room. Abode Lord Zai, you're so thoughtful. They left not a moment too soon, as in the next moment, someone with a bright and crisp laughter entered. Ha ha ha, Imperial brother, Imperial sister, your prosperity compound is so lively. That crowd you have outside almost had even me blocked. 2 golden men walked in with their attendants behind them, Crown Prince and Yuan Kong. Zhuo Fan snickered inside at the sight of the first. He's good. The emperor just made Luo house's siblings a regent and princess, and grabbing the excuse, he came out of the woodworks in an instant, thus making the 2 feel awkward about shooing him away. Though they had no reservations about the second guy, Zhuo Fan turned to the ball of fat with a shake of his head. Thinking back, didn't the fatty drag him as well? These 2 are indeed related. Humph. Please forgive my transgression of not coming out to welcome you, your highness. Luo Yuncheng pulled her brother to bow before Yuan Bo. All while Zhuo Fan was standing behind them, looking bored and with nothing particularly important to do. Crown Prince ignored this obvious rudeness and instead helped the 2 up with a smile. Please, we're all family now. You don't have to be so distant, just call me elder brother. Luo Yuncheng was startled. The siblings found him kind, amiable, and modest. They were overwhelmed with gratitude. However, Zhuo Fan's trained eyes saw through the facade. He hadn't lived 2 lives for nothing. Oh, Steward Zhuo, you sir have become the best steward beneath heavens as of today. You are in charge of all of Tianyu's affairs, beneath one man and above everyone else. Congratulations on having received such boundless glory. I know it is late, but please accept my acclaim. The crown prince went to Zhuo Fan and made a solemn and perfect bow, a 90 degrees down angle. If he were any more modest, he'd be on his knees by now. Everyone was shocked at his modesty. That person bowing there was His Highness Crown Prince. The only ones to receive such respect were either the emperor or the four pillars. The 7 house lords were clearly exempt, yet here he was giving Zhuo Fan the greatest respect the imperial family could offer. Everyone looking at them felt touched by the gesture. All but Zhuo Fan, who wasn't buying any of that fake modesty, watched on with a cold eye and a curt nod. "Oh, I know, next time be quicker about it." PFF. Blood almost spurted in waves as the people keeled over and laughed. It got a crack out of the bowing crown prince too. His face twitched and became red as a fireball. Yuan Kong had the least control and cursed, "Brother, how can you step all over him? Elder brother offers you his sincere congratulations, and this is how you thank him. To be quicker about it, as if we're truly in the wrong here. He said he came late and asked for forgiveness. What didn't I forgive him, and now I can't even chew him out for it? What more do you want?" Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. PFF, blood was bound to flow if he kept this up. The fatty was so pissed that his lard and everything quaked. "You're nitpicking. Can't we ever get a simple, polite greeting out of you? Don't think that I won't. Won't what? Beat me up." "Bring it," Zhuo Fan snickered, flipping the fatty off in taunt. The fatty had smoke coming out of his ears. Oh, he wanted to put the prick in his place, but he was smart enough to know when he was outmatched, outclassed, though not outweighed. And so, while he looked positively charging, he had one greasy hand, by chance or not, holding Crown Prince's hand in such a way as if the other guy was pulling him, and then shouted, "Elder brother, don't stop me. I will put this punk in his place for what he did to you." The Crown Prince's mouth twitched. "I see why the old third has become sworn brothers with Zhuo Fan. Look at them. One has a flair for the dramatic, cocky, and obnoxious, sticking his nose higher than the heavens even in front of me, the Crown Prince. The other is no better either. He's got no power yet still wants to play pretend, pulling me into his act while he's at it. These two are like 2 peas in a pod. A bromance made in heaven." Contrary to his thoughts, he knew Zhuo Fan had the power to match the attitude. His only choice was to make friends with the guy. Thus he laughed, "Ha ha ha, Steward Zhu is so fresh and reasonable. I truly admire you. Old third, that was my sincere apology, and what Steward Zhu said was right. You can't interfere. Humph, consider yourself lucky that the elder brother has let you off. Next time." Humph, the fatty flicked his sleeve, speaking that line like second nature, all while being close to having a panic attack inside. "Oh, mommy, I'm free at last. If I had fought with that freak, my modest 400 kg fat would have been tenderized." Zhuo Fan merely scoffed. They all returned to the lounge and sat. The Crown Prince clapped for his men to present his gift, dozens of 8th grade ingredients and some 6th, 7th grade materials. These materials far outstripped even the diamond sand Zhuo Fan once called a genuine treasure. Among them, Sea Phantom Wing stood out, the wings of a 7th-level spiritual beast, Abyss Phantom Butterfly. The Abyss Phantom Butterfly was exceedingly rare, haunting the black depths of the largest seas. It was ethereal, expert in using illusions, and swift in water. Not even a peak radiant stage expert could escape this creature's illusions, offering instead his soul for it to feast on. And these wings retained that special trait. These were far better than his former lightning wings, both in strength and attack. The higher in stage a cultivator progressed, the more he trained his soul, hence soul attacks were more sought after. The Sea Phantom wings were a nightmare for any radiant stage expert, or even higher. Eyes fixed on the Crown Prince's gift, Zhuo Fan sighed. The imperial family must have a sizable treasury amassed over 1,000 years for a mere Crown Prince to present such an invaluable gift. The Crown Prince noticed his look and nodded with a smile. "Steward Zhuo, I know you had lightning wings, but had come to lose them in the esoteric debate. Please kindly accept this gift I've prepared for you. Every reward is deserved. What does the Crown Prince wish for me to do in exchange?" Zhuo Fan smiled. He was never a believer of free lunches. Shaking his head, Crown Prince showed a vague smile. "Steward Zhu is a national hero, and the Luo clan is a national asset. I only wish for the two of us to work together for the safety of our empire. That is my humble request." "Humph, more like having us as your lackeys. Cut the slick act," Zhuo Fan scoffed inside. The fatty urged, having long since exhausted what little patience he had, "Just accept the elder brother's goodwill. What's there to consider? Won't it help you strive harder for Tianyu? This is a natural responsibility of the Luo clan, now a crucial part of our nation." Glancing at him, Zhuo Fan snickered but nodded. He pegged the fatty as being on the Crown Prince's side for coming here together, but hearing him now changed his opinion. The Crown Prince wanted Luo clan to work with him for him. As for national safety and such gimmick, that came second. But the fatty's dumb act, played out in ignorance, changed its content, making Luo clan working for Tianyu and thus accepting the gift fully deserving. The way it went, what looked like fatty helping Crown Prince was in fact helping Luo clan escape Crown Prince's clutches. Striving for Tianyu and siding with the Crown Prince weren't semantics. Thus the crown prince's gift became a waste. The fatty was hiding himself. He is quite the shrewd guy. I wonder if the crown prince can read between the lines. Oh, he would be royally pissed if he could. After a bit more chatting, the crown prince stood up and bowed before leaving. Zhuo Fan actually enjoyed sending him off for a change, beaming from ear to ear. He was brimming with smugness, thinking that crown prince had yet to find out that the fatty sold him out. Be that as it may, Zhuo Fan thought that taking such a grand gift for nothing was a tad bit awkward. Not like it was his fault. It was that tub of lard to blame for ruining his elder brother's masterful scheme. While Zhuo Fan was off the hook. As for serving Tianyu, it was not a problem. Who's to say whom the future Tianyu belongs to? Snickering inside, Zhuo Fan watched the princes leave, then came back inside more refreshed than ever. As for those two brothers, they didn't get more than a stick's toss away when Crown Prince cupped his hands. Third brother, thank you for coming with me. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to make friends with the prideful steward Zhu, even if I came as the Crown Prince. Don't be like that, elder brother. We are close, you and I, of course I'll help you out. The fatty slapped his flabby chest, shouting his bromance. Yet in the next second, his beady eyes turned shifty. Elder brother, weren't you always against us getting close to the houses? Then why? Crown Prince sighed. You must think that I am going against the imperial father's decree by doing this, correct? Only sigh, the imperial father has been going down on his years, and his handling of court falls shorter from one year to the next. With the Luo clan and regent estate being like fire and water, it will be dangerously easy for Tianyu to fall into chaos and wreck the imperial father's poor heart from anxiety. As his son, I must set things right. That is why I wanted to get close to the rising Luo clan, so that I may mediate in the most dire moments and bring balance to Tianyu. Oh, elder brother is so considerate towards the people and father. I am in awe. Yuan Kong cupped his hands, putting on a face of adoration. Elder brother, just say the word and I will fulfill any request you may have to my full capabilities. This is the only thing I can do to share the load you and father carry. Nodding, the crown prince patted his shoulder. Third brother, I thank you for your good intentions. If only our second brother had a fraction of your kindness, I believe we brothers could do it. If we work as one, nothing is impossible. A shame. Elder brother, lighten up. Second brother will one day understand your toil. The fatty gripped Crown Prince's hand, watching him with a heavy gaze. Crown Prince had a thin smile. I can only hope. Third brother, I still have documents to handle for father in the imperial palace. I'll be going. Crown Prince glanced at the sky and cupped his hands. The fatty replied in kind, thank you for your hard work, elder brother, goodbye. Then he took his men and went in another direction. Watching the ball of flesh wiggle away in the sun's glorious rays, the Crown Prince had a smile on his face. But once the pile of meat took a turn, his face sank, his eyes exploding with revulsion and hatred unlike any before. That damn lardus talks too much. He took out a spotless hanky and wiped his hand the fatty had grabbed, then threw it away. Then he left with his own detail towards the gloom of a dark alley where three people waited. Greetings, Prime Minister Zhuge, Crown Prince bowed. They were Prime Minister Zhuge Changfeng and his two elders. Zhuge Changfeng smiled, Your Highness, by your confident gaze, I believe the plan was a success. Of sorts, however, Zhuo Fan is a highfalutin, leaving me with anger but nowhere to vent, Crown Prince grimaced. Zhuge Changfeng laughed, Your Highness, please bear it. Zhuo Fan is a prideful youngster who has yet to experience true failure. Even Leng Wucheng suffered at his hands. His pride is warranted. This is just how people with talent are. But will this cocky man one day take your position and become Prime Minister? Crown Prince frowned in disbelief. Zhuge Changfeng nodded. You heard it yourself, how the Emperor bestowed him the best steward beneath heaven's title. And what does that mean, becoming Prime Minister? His Majesty is paving the way, a capable official for the new Emperor. Zhuo Fan may be unorthodox and crass in his methods, unlike me, but we are the same in one aspect. We are more than qualified to be the Prime Minister. I understand, Prime Minister Zhuge, Crown Prince nodded, but a dark cloud still loomed over his face. But I just can't stand Zhuo Fan's attitude. Just thinking how I'll tangle with him day after day once I'm crowned is infuriating. Zhuge Changfeng had a look of ridicule for him. Your Highness need not worry about this for now, perhaps. You won't even get the chance. Crown Prince shook like a quiver as he cried, What are you implying? Nothing, just a guess about His Majesty's thoughts, ha ha ha. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes flashed. Every ruler plays favorites, leaving to his successor the people he wants. This goes double for the officials. Some will be demoted, others promoted, all to win the people's hearts. Yet this time, His Majesty has decided to forego this and settle on the next Prime Minister candidate. Now why do you think he did that? Crown Prince shook his head bewildered. Zhuge Changfeng resumed with a hidden gaze of contempt. If the officials are chosen before the ruler, this can only mean one thing. His Majesty is yet to decide who among you three is to be the successor. Put another way, anyone would do with Zhuo Fan at his side. Your Highness, don't put too much stock in your crown prince status when it gives no advantage whatsoever in the power struggle. Ha ha ha, how can this be? Crown Prince shuddered 2 steps back. Now do you see why I suggested getting close to Zhuo Fan? The official decides the emperor. Since any one of you 3 will do, it will all come down to who fits this stuck-up future Grand Chancellor best. This shall decide who among you is destined to be emperor. Zhu Chengfeng sneered at the stumped crown prince. In case your highness and Zhu Fan can't exactly rub shoulders, you might as well give up on the throne. Being a regent isn't all that bad either. No, Crown Prince shouted his defiance. Prime Minister Zhu, thank you for telling me. Now I know what I must do. He took his men and left in a haze. The sweat had seeped into his back and the golden tunic stuck to him. Zhu Chengfeng was mighty pleased watching the staggering figure leave. The black-haired elder spoke. Sir, are you really helping him take the throne? Helping. Humph, I'm not so bored as to get his dowry for him. Zhu Chengfeng snickered. I'm only praising the Luo clan so much because of this tripartite stalemate plan, have the tigers tear each other apart while he reaps the benefits. But does he think I'll just stand by and let him do that? I will entangle the imperial family into this mess and jumble the board so much he won't be able to tell left from right. Ha ha ha, since he wants chaos, I'll give him a helping hand and raise hell. We'll just have to wait and see who will be the true reaper in the end. The 2 elders praised. The Prime Minister is brilliant. Meanwhile, Zhu Fan went back to the lounge, dodging past Long Yifi and company. Long Yifi sighed at the gone princes. Crown Prince, a man of such impeccable conduct, is looking for a faction as well. The imperial capital isn't as calm as the surface. The others nodded. These guys all had decades behind them and could sniff out any undercurrent. Zhu Fan agreed as well, but wasn't worried. With the Luo clan growing day by day and on the initiative, who could rein them in when they were in constant transformation? Steward Zhu, someone has come with an invitation. Captain Pang ran over. Zhu Fan glanced at it, and at the sight of the second prince's name, he laughed. I just sent away the crown prince, and the second one comes right after. The second prince is filled with wild ambitions, always discussing with the houses in secret. But everyone looked down on him until recently when he got tangled with Hell Valley. To vie for the throne, I presume. Grandmother urged. Steward Zhu, you'd best avoid getting into the imperial family's affairs lest you incite trouble. Humph, I fear no trouble. But what does this second prince think he is, that he can just ask me to visit him? Even the crown prince paid yours truly a visit. Zhu Fan ripped the invitation in disdain. The others flushed with shame. Steward Zhu has nerves of steel, coming to such a decision with such a reasoning. While they were weighing the pros and cons and how to ease up on refusing the guy, Zhu Fan, on his high horse as he always was, never failed to look the part of the egotistical boss. Oh, checking the second invitation, Zhu Fan read, Perish, the third pillar, demigod Yun Xuanji. Narrowing his eyes, Zhu Fan pondered. Now that he thought about it, he had yet to pay this 1,000-year-old mystifying clan a visit. And here it was knocking on his door. Yun clan, the most secretive clan since the founding of Tianyu. It was not like the 7 noble houses guarding the borders, but a clan every emperor had relied heavily on. This clan had mastered an amazing and strange skill. In every generation, there would be one person who knew how to read the heavens, a sacred bloodline that could infer the fate of the nation. This bloodline didn't offer them power, but allowed them to look into a person's fate and the empire's path with ultimate precision. Their eyes saw the world, so to speak. They gleaned fate through signs unperceived by others and presented the emperor with the most accurate conclusion. This person was called High Priest in every generation, a title the emperor bestowed. Rumor had it that in the Tianyu Empire's most dire need, the High Priest was the one to recommend Dugu Zhanshan for marshal and Zhu Chengfeng for minister to the emperor. This led to the powerful 4 pillars of today, bringing prosperity to the nation. The current High Priest was the 7th clan head of the Yun clan, the one they called demigod Yun Xuanji. Zhu Fan mulled it over. They say Yun Xuanji doesn't care about mundane affairs, so how come he knows about me? Steward Zhu, he is an incredible man. Since he has invited you, he must want to convey something of dire importance. You have to go. Grandmother spoke after seeing the invitation. Raising an eyebrow, Zhu Fan eyed her, then the rest. You guys are quite respectful of Yun Xuanji. Is he that trustworthy? Absolutely. Yun Xuanji is an anomaly in Tianyu. Be it the emperor, Zhu Chengfeng, Dugu Zhanshan, or the 7 houses, everyone would knock on his door whenever they faced something beyond their understanding. And he answers each time. I once visited Sir myself, and his words brought light to my eyes. Long Yifi smiled, recalling the fond memory. It only worked to get Zhu Fan more curious. How is it that the emperor leaves this threat, a mystic whose words shape the nation and even lead the houses, alive? Zhu Fan was clear on one thing. Chaos bred heroes while peace killed mystics. The world was perfect, peaceful, and safe. but your sudden scrying and spouting of the world falling into chaos with anyone vying for the throne will shake the empire to its core. No. This led to those mystics raving about some monarch founding a nation to be the first put down after the nation was up and running to prevent calamity. No one wanted for others to use their words and steal their throne. One other reason why Zhuo Fan had such disdain for anything related to heaven, providence, and the like, Huangpu Qingshan wouldn't shut up about it. He laughed in his face, of course, labeling him as another duped moron in his mind. But now, the Yun clan had not only developed this art to perfection, it even had authority. Men, friends, and enemies alike paid social visits for answers to their problems. It was a clear violation to the imperial family, yet the emperor never once snuffed it out but kept it close for 1,000 years. This was more than baffling, insane even. The House Lords burst out laughing at his conundrum. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhuo, what you don't know is that the Yun clan has never shied away from the straight and narrow. It treats everyone as guests, yet never holds favorites. It never involves itself in court affairs, taking neutral ground and never crossing the line, the only reason the imperial family's fears were abated. Unlike any other mystic, Yun clan has an ancestral teaching. The walks of life are numerous, heaven ever-changing and humanity's wisdom boundless. Zhuo Fan grinned. Zhuo Fan pondered but shook his head in the end. Isn't that the same as saying, at the end of it all you have only yourself to rely on? That's just it. His words guide you on your path. As for succeeding, it all comes down to you. This is what makes the Yun clan incredible. Long Yifi laughed. Zhuo Fan's eye twitched. Well, I think he is a hustler. To juggle so many big shots sure takes skill. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Who knows, I may learn a thing or two on how to use you guys better. He, even better. If you can learn anything, we'll be coming to you for guidance. Ha ha ha. Everyone burst out laughing. Zhuo Fan's hand holding the card shook, but his eyes were focused. He called Yun clan a mystic, but he was more than clear that for the emperor and Zhu Chengfeng to show utmost respect towards it, it had to be more than that. I have to visit them. He cupped his hands and took his leave, heading for Parish. It took 15 minutes to arrive before a huge gate. Parish was written above it, but unlike its glorious name as a third pillar, it looked downright poor. The Yun clan is truly honest despite the 1,000-year-long fame. Nodding, Zhuo Fan knocked. The heavy gate creaked open and a 9-year-old kid walked out. Giving Zhuo Fan a once-over, he bowed in respect. May I know who sir is and your purpose? A merchant. I heard of the high priest scrying and wished to consult him. Zhuo Fan found discretion was the better part of valor, so he chose to probe the unknown kid. The kid frowned and counted on his fingers before bowing an apology. Forgive me, but clan head is tending to an important guest these 3 days and can't receive you. You may come afterward, let me make you a reservation. Zhuo Fan regarded the kid deeply and nodded inside. Yun clan sure is fair, so lofty yet hearing the people's needs. Even their kid is polite. At the very least, it knows how to raise their clansmen. If it were the Luo clan's guards meeting some nobody wishing to see the great steward Zhuo, he'd have been slapped silly rather than waste words. Yun clan advocated virtue, a stark contrast from your common mystic. Ha ha ha, child, I won't tease you anymore. I have received an invitation. Here, pinching the cutie's cheeks, Zhuo Fan laughed. The kid lit up and bowed. Oh, best steward beneath heavens, forgive me for not recognizing you, Sir Zhuo. Clan head has long been expecting you. The kid led the way, with Zhuo Fan smiling behind. They passed many water pavilions and stopped before a large structure. Looking up, Zhuo Fan found it to be 100 meters tall at the least. Here is the parish's observatory. Clan head is currently tending to a guest. Please wait here while I inform him. The child bowed again. Zhuo Fan nodded and the child left. 15 minutes later, Zhuo Fan's eyes roamed all over the place, bored out of his mind when he heard angry and rough shouts. Why are they so familiar? Going around the observatory and onward, he arrived at a house. The child from before was now kneeling in front with a lowered head. Did he wait here not wanting to disturb the clan head? Sir Zhuo. The child noticed him and cried out. Zhuo Fan only gestured for him to be silent. Then, to the child's shock, he tiptoed over and peeked through the seams of the door. He was dying to know who Yun Xuanji was seeing. He got the shock of his life. There were 3 people inside. One was a sitting grizzled old man with closed eyes and impeccable conduct. He was assumed to be High Priest Yun Xuanji. As for the other 2, Zhuo Fan was more than familiar with them, Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wucheng. Huangpu Tianyuan was the one raving, High Priest, your scrying has never failed, so why is it this time that it is completely different? Indeed, I can infer human minds but not heaven's will. Something I admire the High Priest for. Leng Wucheng cupped his hands, but this time I am unable to readily accept the High Priest's error. 20 years ago you told us that the eldest young master is fit to rule, that it was a wonderful omen. But now, young Xuanji nodded and sighed. Indeed, your eldest young master had the rare earth dragon disposition. He needed to pass 3 tribulations and his future would have been limitless. What tribulations? Huangpu Tianyuan spat. Young Xuanji not once opened his eyes. These 3 were a part of heaven's plan I dare not divulge, but since he had come to pass, it no longer applies. They are heaven's will, father and son, and sin. Which of them was Zhuo Fan? Ling Wucheng asked. Young Xuanji shook his head. Neither. Then why say there were 3? Aren't they clearly 4? It was even one that took his life. Huangpu Tianyuan boomed. Young Xuanji was a bastion of tranquility in the face of a storm. Heaven is ever-changing, though some movements can be tracked. With a human having 3,000 paths to choose from, his life can take a myriad of turns. But your dear son's tragic loss is a true accident. PFF, Zhuo Fan was holding his mouth for his dear life. He was more and more sure this young Xuanji guy was a hustler through and through. Who the hell would say an expert like Huangpu Qingshan's death was an oopsie? Huangpu Tianyuan and Ling Wucheng twitched. It was the first time hearing such a word from young Xuanji. He used to drone on about fate working in mysterious ways, some kind of elegant and convoluted explanation that had them all bow in admiration of the infallible truth it held. But this time he offered no such thing, writing it all off as an accident. Is he trying to give Parrish a bad name? Tianyuan clenched his fists and felt a sudden, totally understandable urge to deck the old man. High priest, haven't you always preached that no life is by accident, that heaven has decreed everything? Even if a mistake happens, it is only a fork in the road that is fate. Aren't you the one mistaken then? Why is it that when it comes to Qingshan's turn, it's an accident? One's path is impermanent, heaven ever shifting, and of the world's myriad creatures, no one can escape their destiny. With how the world has 8 gates opening, torpor, life, harm, impediment, spectacle, shock, death, to enter the gate of life is to be alive. To enter the gate of death is to die. To enter the gate of torpor is to lag in lethargy and be in a slur. To enter the gate of spectacle is to have a bright future. But in any case, it always revolves around taking one of the 8 gates, never outside them. Thus one can't escape their destiny. Young Xuanji took a deep breath. After speaking of how mysteries had intricacies and intricacies had mysteries, he sighed. However, as there are myriads of living beings, an anomaly is bound to appear. There comes a time when a singular man stands outside heaven's control. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes twitched, clueless where he was going with this rant. Ling Wucheng, however, did get it, you mean to say. Zhuo Fan isn't part of heaven's schedule. Huangpu Tianyuan snapped his stunned eyes on Ling Wucheng. What does that mean? Young Xuanji never elaborated, resuming after a long pregnant pause. We shall stop here. I have spoken too much already. You are now on your own. Show yourselves out. This coot's kicking his guests out. Huangpu Tianyuan choked, and a blazing fire scorched his heart. He really wanted to thrash this geezer. Not making a word of sense, and now he was giving them the boot. The two's minds went out of commission for a second there. Ling Wucheng was the first to act, though, stopping his lord's assault on the defenseless old man and bowing. Thank you, High Priest, for your counsel. I understand fully, and we shall now take our leave. We shall come again another time. Hey, Sir Ling, understand what? I didn't get anything out of that rant, Huangpu Tianyuan roared. Ling Wucheng waved. Estate Lord, let's go. The High Priest has already given us clear advice. Zhuo Fan is an anomaly, neither friend nor foe. He has nothing to do with us. You're calling all that nothing? He has killed so many of our people. And you want to just forget about revenge? Huangpu Tianyuan watched Ling Wucheng in shock. Why is Sir Ling speaking in riddles like this coot? Ling Wucheng merely pulled him outside. Estate Lord, I will explain everything when we get back. Rumble. Ling Wucheng opened the door only to bump into the peeping Tom. He cried, Zhuo Fan, W, what are you doing here? A total coincidence. Ha ha ha, just like you came to ask how to deal with me, I've also come to High Priest for pointers on what's the best way to get rid of you guys. Zhuo Fan taunted with a snicker. Though isn't it funny how we both visit the same person for our problems? Humph, ignorant whelp, Parrish has stood tall for 1,000 years above mundane affairs. And they won't start doing it now for a measly conflict. They are merely here to point out our path and clarify our purpose. Ling Wucheng put on a cold smile. Besides, now that I fully understand our circumstances, Luo clan may be evolving day by day, but it will be at the heart of chaos. Attack us and both our houses will fall, leaving others to reap the benefits. Intellectuals like you and me aren't dumb enough to choose this path. Zhuo Fan gave him a deep look and nodded, right on. But understand this, who was it that kept backing off in front of the imperial palace? Shuddering, Ling Wucheng clenched his fists. It was the greatest humiliation of his life to be pushed around by Zhuo Fan. Ha ha ha, Sir Ling, you know you can't beat me, yet you are also scared to face me. It must be. Zhuo Fan snickered, his finger pointing at his heart. Here is where you fall short, you. Don't have my drive, just a mere counselor unable to achieve anything noteworthy, ha ha ha. The mockery was jarring to Ling Wucheng's ears. his eyes bloodshot, his fingers digging into his palms, unable to hold himself back from trembling. It was a naked taunt and scorn, but all he could do was bear with it. They couldn't face Zhuo Fan as he was now, he was too strong, besides the fact that he was now one of the big players in the grand scheme of things. They were not about to throw caution into the wind over this little hiccup. The kneeling child was stumped. Living his whole life in the parish, all he had ever met were respectful and courteous people, even if hypocritical. In other words, this child had only seen the light of the world, and never its black and foul darkness. Today was the day when he got exposed to humanity's most morbid side. Zhuo Fan hardly needed lengthy speeches to poke at Lang Wucheng. Those few words contained more than enough unbridled malice that he would appear to be like a hellhound out for blood. And each word shocked the poor child's naive heart more than the last. He was afraid. So this is the corruptive darkness that courses through outsiders' veins. Yun Xuanji sighed with his eyes closed. Lang Wucheng took long breaths to calm down somewhat. He refrained from talking back and instead pulled an enraged Huanpu Tianyuan, "A state lord, let's go." Zhuo Fan watched them leave with a grin, then turned to the dumbstruck kid, patting his shoulder with a snicker. "Sonny, see that? Look how those guys left bleak and despondent before yours truly. Am I cool or what?" The child was too shocked to speak. "Steward Zhuo, please refrain from corrupting my disciple." High priest finally opened his deep eyes. With a casual shrug, Zhuo Fan grinned, pinching the kid's cheek again before going in. After that peeping fiasco, he was rid of all respect he ever had for high priest, thinking just a hustler. And since he was a mere peak profound heaven expert, he had lost all interest too. Sprawling in his seat and drumming the table, Zhuo Fan said, "So why did the high priest call me over?" Looking at him for a long 15 minutes, Yun Xuanji nodded. "As I suspected, Steward Zhuo is a man among men." "Stuff it. If I'd been any more normal, I'd be dead. Now why did you invite me?" Zhuo Fan slapped the table with a scoff. He shot to his feet, heading for the door. "If you're all out of shticks to convince me, then see ya. And don't try that fate stuff with me. It won't work, nor can I understand it. Do us both a favor and save it." Zhuo Fan left with a sneer. Yun Xuanji only spoke as he was about to take the first step outside. "You should be dead." Rumble. Zhuo Fan froze with his leg in the air, his eyes filled with shock. Yun Xuanji cut into him quickly. "He did die once already. Be it Luo clan's servant, Zhuo Fan, or Sacred Domain's demonic emperor, Zhuo Yifan, they had both died. Zhuo Fan was the demonic emperor's resentment, borrowing this servant's body to be reborn. He still had the case of identity disorder. Was he Zhuo Yifan or Zhuo Fan? Through the use of 9 Serenity's secret records, out of 2 deaths, a life was born. This was his greatest secret, so how did the old coot figure him out in a glance? Creaking his head back, Zhuo Fan frowned. He now noticed the abyss in the old man's eyes hiding a faint flicker of light, like the night's furthest star. Are the rumors true? Yun Clan's clan heads have eyes that can pierce one's fate. This is out of this world. Not even Sacred Domain's emperors can train in such a mystical art. More importantly, is this world dominated by fate? Zhuo Fan was a stubborn skeptic when it came to anything remotely sounding of fate, but now he was forced to give it a second thought. Swallowing dryly, Zhuo Fan looked heavily at him. "Just who are you? Where does the Yun clan come from?" He refused to believe that the mortal domain housed such an unimaginable clan. He's a branch of the Sheng clan. "He has to be." Yun Xuanji had a puzzled look. "Steward Zhuo, what are you saying?" Yun clan has always lived in seclusion, being weak at fighting. At the founding of Tianyu, we were asked to come out of obscurity and have been treated as its parish ever since. To answer your question of where we come from, I can only reply with Tianyu. Zhuo Fan was thrown in a loop now. Can a clan of such incredible skill have such bland origins? Or have they lived for so long that they forgot about their own history? Zhuo Fan had a faint smile on and shamelessly plopped back in his seat. "High priest, please don't mind my previous outburst. So where were we?" It's been ages since I had such a refreshing chat with someone, ha ha ha." Yun Xuanji's face twitched and he laughed to himself. "Steward Zhuo, your reputation precedes you. Flexible, knowing no shame, and quite like myself back in the day. High priest, are you patronizing me or mocking yourself?" Zhuo Fan felt awkward. High priest shook his head. "We've all been young once. But now, at my age, this seat is different from how I saw it then. So I wish to have a talk with Steward Zhuo, giving our all for a better tomorrow." Xuanji's every word. People's fates are ingrained in the world. Although choices are innumerable, anything hardly throws the world out of balance. My belief was firm in this truth, and with my ancestors' eyes, I was able to point out a safer path for the people. But 8 years ago, something happened that collapsed my faith. Zhuo Fan curled an eyebrow. Seeing Yun Xuanji gasping, he muttered, "High priest, restrain your grief. Who hasn't been disappointed in the world? Ha ha ha, you think I fell in despair because everything I knew had been turned upside down?" Yun Xuanji sighed, "Perhaps, but I was more surprised than anything. I used to think every life is bound to the world's laws. The more I saw, the duller the world became. That is why the Yun clan has always lived in tranquility and never engaged in power play. But that moment opened my eyes that not everything was set in stone. Heaven and earth are keeping us prisoners while still presenting us with a way out. All that is left is for us to find it. Clueless to high heavens, Zhuo Fan scratched his nose, cursing the old man. What the hell had the old coot been smoking? Yun Xuanji laughed in reply to his thoughts. Steward Zhuo doesn't look too keen to delve into the mysteries of fate. Then I shall speak plainly. 8 years ago, you killed Yugiki in Blue Expanse City. Your act defied fate. His destiny was fraught with dangers, but it was not meant to be cut so short. Zhuo Fan's heart seized. 8 years ago was his first turning point in Tianyu, the one that made him infamous. All the fate-defying that came after this event went way over his head. You mean to tell me fate includes killing? What am I supposed to do? Wait for the auspicious day when I want to kill someone, since it wasn't in the stars for him to die earlier. That only meant this parish ought to change jobs, scrying for an assassin's target's due date. Or no matter what the killer tries before the due time, all attempts would be for naught. Yun Xuanji knew his thoughts before they had even formed. Each man's fate is linked with the world, just like the starry sky. And every one of them touched one another through unseen rules and intricate interactions. Since everyone has their own will, they all take different walks in life. But the path to death never even existed for Yugiki at that point in time. It only appeared 20 years later, in a time of great national unrest. The news of his death shocked me to the core. I turned to the sky at once and found a dead person still alive. Along with him, the strings of fate were now entangled, and he had escaped the ties that bind. Every single action of his changed the fates of everyone he met. The strong become weak, and the weak turn strong. Like a demon archon incarnate, he literally flips the world upside down. A high priest, you don't mean me when you mention demon archon, right? Zhuo Fan pointed at his nose, blinking his big puppy eyes. Yun Xuanji smiled. What do you think? Ha ha ha, you know better than anyone. Just how many people's fate has taken a sudden and unconceivable turn on your path. Luo clan, a washed-up third-rate clan, is experiencing a complete rebirth as the head of the 8 noble houses. If not because of you killing Yugiki, Blue Expanse City's Zhu clan would have never served under Sword Marquis's abode. Their third Miss life would have run its sordid course. Drifting Flowers Edifices was destined to be Regent Estate's first victim in their house unification plan, greatly bolstering their power, all leading up to a huge civil war. All it took was one particular man, you, and Drifting Flowers Edifices made a comeback from the brink of death. Regent Estate's plans were thwarted, and on it goes. Need I say more? All of this sounds like fate's plan to me. Maybe I'm just Regent Estate's nemesis, the one to turn all of it around. Zhuo Fan stuck out his nose as he spoke with sophistry. Yun Xuanji nodded with a smile, perhaps, but my eyes still failed to see any trace of fate around you, as if you're walking between two worlds, having long since shed the shackles of destiny. Heart tense, Zhuo Fan may speak tough, but he was already starting to believe it on the mushy inside. Although he was allergic to this bullshit he called fate, this old coot was right about one thing. He truly was walking between worlds, that of the living and the dead. An ethereal stage, losing his body, could live on by possessing others with his soul. But that was no true rebirth, since he didn't die to begin with. While demonic Emperor Zhu Yifan had his soul pulverized, annihilated, Luo clan's servant, Zhuo Fan of meager cultivation, was also struck down. Yet through the mysteries of the 9 Serenities' secret records, life was born anew from these two strangers housing one body, a life walking the thin line between the living and the dead, yet above the laws of this world. Separated, they were dead, but together they were at least half alive. Steward Zhuo, I don't know how you did it, but please believe me. Your very existence changes everyone's fate as they know it. Yun Xuanji paused for effect, then continued in a heavier tone. I intended to keep this matter hidden, but in exchange for your trust, I will tell you a secret. The one you killed, Huangpu Kingshan, had all the qualities and fate to be a ruler. He had a high chance of becoming the new emperor. What? Zhuo Fan could hardly believe his ears. He was always of the belief that Huangpu Kingshan's rants about providence this, providence that, were just that, rants and a heavy dose of narcissistic tendencies. But now even the high priest vouched for him, making it all the more crazy. Yun Xuanji sighed. I had seen into Huangpu Kingshan's fate, and a single glance told me that he had the disposition of an earth dragon, a prime candidate to be a king on this earth. But fate is a forked path. Where there is death, there will always be life, and where there was life, death wasn't far behind either. At the time, I spoke of 3 tribulations he had to pass to achieve his destiny. First was heaven. With the king's advent, the dragon's soul shall return. Huangpu Kingshan earned its recognition in his childhood for a reason. This tribulation he passed. Zhuo Fan nodded. Dragon Vein Soul was a savage being, with not even a radiant stage expert capable of subduing it. Yet Huanpu Kingshan, a pipsqueak, did it, complementing each other and training the Earth Dragon Claw. It's gotta be fate. There's no other explanation. The second tribulation was of father and son. Estate Lord Huanpu Tianyuan is a decisive and stalwart person. If Huanpu Kingshan wanted to do anything, he had to seize power to steal his father's seat. This ultimately broke the ties of father and son beyond repair. All he had to do was to be a savage himself, throw away his clan and steal his position. This would have brought him one step closer to being an emperor. Humph the punk was savage all right, just look at his rotten attitude. Zhuo Fan scoffed inside. It's obvious that this tribulation was a walk in the park compared to the first. The final tribulation, the most crucial one, was sin. Huanpu Kingshan is a tyrant in character and actions. With everyone considered dirt, his sins weigh heavy on his shoulders. If he would have gone soul-searching, reassessing the worth of a person, he would have been a prime candidate to become the next emperor. 20 years later, Regent Estate would be at his beck and call. At the peak of his power, the clash with the imperial family would be nothing more than a skirmish to him, and 4 decades later, he'd become the ruler of Tianyu and establish his own dynasty. That seems highly improbable. With that guy's obnoxious attitude, the thought of self-reflection would have never crossed his mind. Looking people right in the eye instead of his nostrils would already be a huge improvement. There's no way he would have passed the third tribulation. Zhuo Fan dissed his words, but now the regent estate can no longer vie for power and has nothing to do with me anymore. Yan Xuanji shook his head. People always change. As I understand, the recent years have been too peaceful. If Huanpu Kingshan had lived, he may very well be able to overcome this tribulation. A pity he stumbled upon you, a man outside fate, and his future was cut short. A grave loss. Yan Xuanji sighed while Zhuo Fan scratched his nose. High priest, for you to tell me so much, there has to be a reason. Why? For the good of the people, Yan Xuanji stood up, giving the flabbergasted Zhuo Fan a deep bow. I have deep knowledge of fate and its inviolable nature. Even if forced to change, it will only make a detour. Slowly but surely returning back on track. Hence I am filled with pain seeing the people suffer yet powerless to help them. Now that I see that Steward Zhuo has the power to change all that, I dearly wish Steward Zhuo will keep the fighting to a minimum for the sake of the people. Fine, I get it. Zhuo Fan waved him off before he went on. High priest, I took you for an intelligent man, but now I see that you're quite senile. One second you call me the demon archon incarnate, and the next moment you ask the same demon archon to save the world. Yan Xuanji held his gaze. You were a demon archon. Still am, then later, still will. Zhuo Fan's tone was firm. Yan Xuanji sighed. You have escaped fate, so why insist on walking the old path? I do not know who you are, but looking at your past exploits that got you here, they're not at all the actions of an ignorant child, but those of an expert reborn. Going from there, a reborn expert must have faced true death once. But have you ever taken a moment to consider that this rebirth, and having escaped fate, is all about rediscovering yourself? Zhuo Fan shook from head to toe. Not only had he guessed Zhuo Fan's origins, but the heart of this old demonic cultivator. Rediscover, in less than 10 years, unlike his past life which was focused solely on cultivating in the sacred domain, he had met countless people, gotten in touch with all kinds of feelings he never knew existed that had given him a whole new look on life. These were all events he had never experienced before. Maybe this life was heaven's way of elevating his state of mind through countless events for the next time he became a demon emperor. That truth freed him of worry and brought peace. His death as demonic emperor may very well be a blessing in disguise. What's in it for me? Zhuo Fan was back to showing his trademark evil smile. He may have accepted Yan Xuanji's proposal, but on the inside he was still rotten. Fan's rebuttal into a half-agreement. As for the price, he had that covered. Steward Zhuo, changing fate benefits the nation. It is the highest form of good you can do. From now on, my clan will follow Steward Zhuo to the ends of the earth. Going against heaven's plan is the way for the future. We'll do anything to prevent Steward Zhuo from burning the world and ruining the lives of innocents. Zhuo Fan's face lit up, his heart tickled pink. The third pillar parish would answer to him alone. It was the best kind of help. With High Priest Yan Xuanji known to all as demigod, he could peer into heaven's plan yet not through Zhuo Fan. Regardless, this way he would have accurate information regarding those sneaky devils that wanted to stab him in the back while he was assaulted by beasts from the front. Caught in his reverie, Yan Xuanji was the one to wake him. Steward Zhuo, my clan has always been neutral. But for the sake of people, I will make an exception just this once. Last night I peered into the sky and found the Luo clan to be on a constant rise. The only ones strong enough to crush its advance are 4 powers. Care to elaborate? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Regent estate, the Earth Dragon; imperial family, the Crouching Dragon; the Empire's Prime Minister, Zhu Chengfeng, the Hidden Dragon. And Yun Xuanji squinted and sighed, having reached this point, and gestured to the north. My greatest worry and greatest menace upon the people, Quanrong Empire, the Vile Dragon. Eyes squinting, Zhuo Fan cried, the same Quanrong Empire that the imperial capital's factions have beaten down thousands of miles away from here. What do they have to do with us? Don't tell me they'll take this chance to attack. That still doesn't involve the Luo clan. That will be right up Dugu Zhanshan's alley. I am unclear since I am not part of the court meetings and do not understand politics shrouded in cloak and dagger. I only read the night sky, and these four are the ones most likely to level the Luo clan. Yun Xuanji sighed. Wheels turning for a while, Zhu Fan's eyes had a lost gaze in them, not seeing the connection. If I take Yun Xuanji's word for it, whose side is Quanrong on then? Zhu Fan's mind jumped back to the esoteric debate, thinking of the time in Beast King Mountain and the good days he spent with that foreign lass. He found her a little bit queer. Is someone within our empire spying for the Quanrong Empire? How else do you explain another country's interference in times of Tianyu's civil war? He then turned to the first three factions. They all had the minimum power to cooperate with each other, and this had him grow extra cautious. I was too naive to focus only on the first three factions. Each of them is despicable and vile enough to pull outsiders into this country's problems. God damn it, are they that thick in the head to not understand the simple truth of keeping it in the family? First he cursed them and then rejoiced. He thanked his lucky stars that he came by Yun Xuanji today and found out about this important info, or this ace would have remained hidden until it would sting him hard. With a rushed bow he spoke, "Thank you, Elder Yu, for your wisdom. I will make arrangements at once. I am not about to let outsiders encroach our lands and put our people in peril. Ha ha ha, for Steward Zhu to realize this truth, I am more than gratified. But before you go, I have a gift for you." Chuckling, Yun Xuanji turned to the kneeling child outside the door. "Zio Dongzi, go bring Shuinger." Right away, the child left. Zhu Fan put on a puzzled look for the high priest. What treasure is he giving me? But all he could read from the old guy's vague smile was nothing. Moments later, the child came back with a brisk ringing of bells and a fragrance that assaulted Zhu Fan's nose. It soothed his mind and cleared his heart, and then he heard the sweetest voice. "Grandfather, you called." Zhu Fan flicked his head back to meet the clearest eyes and fairest skin, sending Zhu Fan down memory lane. Ninger. They were not, in fact, similar at all. She was prettier than Zhu Ningxiang by a long shot, but Zhu Fan found one trait identical. Both of them had that innocent vibe. Like the highest snow on the tallest peak, unmarred by decadence and evil plaguing this world. "Shuinger, come." Yun Xuanji had a cooing tone as he gestured her over. "She is my granddaughter, Yun Shuang." Zhu Fan made a curt nod, and a silly smile found its way on his face. He felt too similar to when Zhu Ningxiang was around, and for no particular reason he became chipper. "Hi, I am Luo Clan's steward, Zhu Fan." "Hello." Yun Shuang smiled back and bowed, shaking the little bell on her wrist. Yun Xuanji approved, then dropped the bomb. "Steward Zhu, Shuinger will be your servant, tending to all your needs." "What?" Zhu Fan and Yun Shuang's eyes were about to pop out. "Grandfather," Yun Shuang teared up at Yun Xuanji's inflexible expression. Zhu Fan waved all over the place. "High priest, your help is more than enough. Why must you make such a repulsive proposal? Do you take me for a lech? One who sits on men and gets fresh with women, to the point that I'd go for my allies' people. Ha ha ha, this is precisely why. Why else do you think I'd throw my dear granddaughter into the jaws of a tiger?" Yun Xuanji said. "To be perfectly honest, she is like me and has the same eyes I do. She is to become Yun Clan's 8th clan head, holy maiden Yun Shuang. I leave her with you to guide you when needed and to stop you from bringing calamity to the people." In the esoteric debate, you lost all reasoning, forcing the hidden and opportunistic Luo clan to come out in the open far earlier than necessary. For the Luo clan and for the nation, it was a grave lapse in judgment. Flushing red, Zhu Fan scratched his nose. He was clear on what a dumb idea it was being such a hothead when facing Huangpu Kingshan. As they say, hindsight was 20/20, but some things were meant to be done even if they were clearly unreasonable. He would do it all over again even if he had to choose again. "I'd never rest easy until he died." Yun Xuanji gave Zhu Fan a shy look, her eyes turning pitch black with faint glimmers flashing deep within, just like Yun Xuanji. She then cried, "Ah, he has no fate. Is he the one grandfather always talks about, the anomaly who broke the ties that bind?" "The same one." Luo clan steward Zhu Fan. With a chuckle, Yun Xuanji, who was very fond of Yun Shuang, spoke. "Shuinger, don't blame me. I don't have any choice. It's the only way to save the people through him who changes fates. He is a man of cruel methods, not one bit kind, even capable of tormenting innocents. I can only have you stay by his side to guide him on the righteous path and save the people. Cough, High Priest, with all due respect, are you by any chance cursing me? Is that wise? Zhuo Fan spoke his 2 cents. Yun Xuanji just shook his hand. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhu always sees himself as a cruel man. So how could those words count? Just take them as a praise. High Priest, now I know why you said my shameless character made you nostalgic. You haven't changed a bit, still hanging on strong. I may be shameless, but not even I am like you, cursing someone in their face. You're too kind, really. Steward Zhu just got unwanted contriver so angry he almost spat blood. I am far from your match. As they say, every generation outmatches the last. Kids these days get stronger every day. PFF. Yun Shuang watched the two bicker between the lines and giggled. Yun Xuanji patted his dear granddaughter's head, pushing her over. Steward Zhu, Xuanger is in your care. She will be of help to you. Please don't abandon her. She isn't a burden. I can't always be there to guide you, but she can. She is useful. Quirking an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan felt that the old man was hinting at something while emphasizing her ability, but nodded anyway. The coot is right about one thing. Having a scryer by my side is far better than running over here every other day. Thus they came to terms. Yun Xuanji saw them out himself. Yun Shuang barely wanted to leave, with tears welling in her eyes, but Zhuo Fan's forceful pulling got her away in no time at all. This is a treasure right here. Waste not, want not. This scene would instantly slap another infamous rumor on the ever-growing list that was Zhuo Fan, that of him being a human trafficker. What no one noticed, though, was the pair of cold eyes watching them from a dark corner. Moments later, a shadow flashed and words entered his ears. He mumbled and scoffed, "Humph, this suicidal old coot, neutral for a century, and now he decides to make an exception." The figure vanished. And the sky above the parish darkened swiftly, bringing with it rain and piercing winds. The high priest faltered at this change, and his carefree mood turned serious as he sighed. What matters is not what becomes of my name, but the good of the people. Ha ha ha, after a weak laughter, his eyes flickered with a staunch resolve. Xuanger, hope you don't mind me calling you that. On their way to the Luo clan, Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang were walking abreast, but he always had a vile and sinister smile each time he looked at the lass, like she was a super rare treasure. Yun Shuang shivered and tears welled in her eyes. The way she saw Zhuo Fan grinning was like a stranger being handed a candy, and it scared her out of her mind. Zhuo Fan laughed. Ha ha ha, Miss Xuanger, there's no need to be scared. Your grandfather placed you in my care to help me complete my master plan. In fact, we're on the same side. Once this is all over, you are free to go home. With how we little know about each other from the past few moments, you can still be sure of my character. Just stick with yours truly and you'll be going places. I will make a celebrity out of you. I will take very good care of you, he he he. He didn't realize that all this boasting might have something to do with how this girl had the same character as Ninger. Yun Shuang broke out in giggles. She kept looking at him for a while before finally scrounging up some courage. Steward Zhu, grandfather warned me many times that you are a bad man and I am to lead you down the path of righteousness. But you don't look so wicked to me. Ha ha ha, that's why I said you don't know me. Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan laughed inside at the gullible lady. Then a sudden wind picked up and covered the two in yellow dust. Zhuo Fan cried, "Poison, Xuanger, hold your breath. Hi, useless. My poison can pierce even a radiant stage expert's defenses." The creepy voice stabbed the two's ears as the yellow dust grew thicker around them. Zhuo Fan grimaced as he watched the world spin. It's a sedative. With a plop, he fell down out cold. "Steward Zhuo," Yun Shuang cried just as the yellow poison drifted towards her. She held on for a few seconds before blacking out just like Zhuo Fan. 3 men flew over. One was an elder with long yellow eyebrows drooping down the sides of his wrinkled face. A flick from him made the yellow dust go back into his sleeve. They were mighty pleased with themselves, seeing their quarry was out for the count. Ha ha ha, and here I thought the best steward beneath heavens was something to fear. One move from me and he fell all the same. The yellow eyebrow elder laughed. His cronies bowed in praise. "Ancestor Huang Mei, your poison is invincible. Not even Pill King Hall can match you. Humph, Pill King Hall is nothing compared to me." Thinking back to when Pill King Hall invited me to be their venerable, we compared poisons, but wasn't it them who fell short each time? All they have for themselves is an empty name. The ancestor mocked. "Second prince only wants Zhuo Fan." "What do we do with her?" "Ancestor, I heard Zhuo Fan always carries himself with pride and indifference and has few people he even cares about. For this girl to be walking next to him, it can only mean that she is one such person. Let's take her as well, it might be for his highness's benefit." One of the men bowed and Ancestor Huang Mei nodded. He wrapped the 2 bodies on the ground in yellow dust and flew away. The other 2 rushed to catch up. This easy win had gotten to their heads all right, or they would have noticed a shivering person not far from here having been witness to all of it. A closer look would instantly place her as Princess Yangning's attendant from the awards ceremony. Oh God, this is huge. I have to tell the princess. The child finally regained her wits after a long 15 minutes, scampering for the imperial palace in panic. In less than an hour, the panting child presented her badge to the gate guards. I am the princess maid, let me in. Meanwhile, in the princess chambers, a fatty was wiping the overflowing sweat on his brow as he panted, Yongning, come out. I'm dying here. The fatty shook the ground with his collapse, cursing still. What the hell is wrong with this place? Why is it so big? For no one but the emperor to move in a palanquin is so unreasonable. That rule is clearly aimed at my poor self. Then what are you doing dashing around the imperial palace? Why don't you stick to your manner? Hi hi hi. A giggle came from beyond the doors. Princess Yongning came from inside in a cheerful mood. Fatty turned to look at his younger sister. You think I want to run over to this blasted place? Regardless of its importance, Imperial Father always sends me on errands. While the elder brother handles files in the Imperial Palace and the second brother tends to the guards, patrolling with them each day. Only I, the accursed big-boned, unloved by my father, get sent outside whenever, wherever. I bet the farther he sends me the better he feels, wishing I won't get back at all. Sigh, the world can be so cruel to this poor plus-sized man. Third brother, you must have lived a long and hard life. Yongning caressed the big lug's head, but the smile never left her face, on the verge of breaking the facade. The fatty's mouth twitched, flicking her hand away. Stop patronizing me, sister. I came here on official business. It is father's punishment for you for sneaking out. He knows, Yongning jerked and her face sank. Third brother, how did father find out? Did you all tell on me and you call yourself brothers? Rolling his eyes, the tubby sighed. Yongning, I haven't said a word. Running around the nation round the clock has me dead on my feet. I don't even have time for anything else, much less report you. As for the elder brother, he's toiling hard as well, pushing papers all day every day. When would he get the time off to tell on you, to say nothing of the second brother? You saw him growing up, how his only drive is elder brother. He's not so bored as to give you trouble. Then who told him my secret? Princess Yongning frowned. If I ever get my hands on that person, I'll tear them to pieces. Fatty was watching her in a daze, then shook his head. Yongning, you're no angel either. Even if we didn't know a thing, he'd still hear about it. Father is the emperor with countless spies under him. Aren't you a bit delusional thinking you can hide your actions in the imperial capital? You're right. Thanks to your reminder, now I know it must be those rumored shadow guards, creeping about like ghosts, some clingy maggots and pestering pests. Am I right? Yongning clapped and vowed, they're the ones. Who else could have known I sneaked out? The fatty gasped, then put on a bitter smile. Yongning, are you sure you aren't playing with half a deck? That little sneak of yours outside the gates was out in the open for all the houses to see. Why mention the shadow guards when everyone knew? Besides, the shadow guards are father's secret force. No one knows who they really are. All that is known is their captain, the fourth pillar, Shadow King. Even the other pillars are cautious around him. Aren't you perhaps having an overinflated idea of yourself, thinking a big shot like him would set his eyes on the little old you? What little old me? Aren't I a princess? Yongning threw a tantrum. Fatty sighed. Yongning, we're getting nowhere. Might as well accept father's punishment. Princess Yongning, receive the edict. Yongning obeys. May his majesty have a long and prosperous life. Yongning fell to her knees with utmost respect. Fatty turned solemn as well. By order of the emperor, Yongning has sneaked out of the palace and lost all semblance of propriety. You are hereby confined for 1 year, subjected to change depending upon your behavior. A year, Yongning fell to the ground in shock, her face ashen. A whole year stuck in the imperial palace, that was the heaviest blow she had ever received. Fatty regarded the downcast princess in pain and was going to say a few words, but a child rushed over in panic, crying all the time, Princess, something terrible has happened. What happened? Why are you panicking? Yongning sighed. What could be worse than being grounded for a year? And didn't I tell you to invite Shuenger to read me? Where is she? Gasping, she blurted, didn't get the chance. Miss Shuenger and Zhuo Fan were kidnapped. What? Yongning and Fatty cried. I saw it with my own eyes, Princess, Lu Zhu vouched. Who did it? The Fatty frowned. I heard them mentioning the second prince. What? Fatty and Yongning jerked at once. Fatty's face was whiter than paper. Second brother has really done it now. A prince engaging in kidnapping, and with the high priest's holy maiden and a house steward no less. Lu Zhu, you come with me. I'm going to give him an earful humph, Yongning scoffed, pulling Lu Zhu towards the emperor's study. Lu Zhu merely bobbed her head and followed, while Fatty ran out of the palace aghast. Third brother, where are you going? Shouldn't we tell father? Yongning shouted. It's too late for that. Fatty gnashed his teeth. Late, Yongning was bewildered. Since the second brother had them kidnapped, they should be safe for the time being. How can I rest easy? And I'm not worried for them, but for my second brother. Old second must have lost his mind to move against that savage. You can mess with the king of hell, but God help you if you step on Steward Zhu's toes. That line said back in the esoteric debate wasn't just for show. Fatty wiped his brow and his face was flushed. His blubberbutt actually moved with uncanny grace for once, gone like the wind. Yang Ning figured the situation was far graver and rushed as well. Whoosh, the image of a perfect blue sky was ruined when a yellow smoke made erratic movements all over it. It landed in a huge yard, revealing the person within. It was ancestor Huang Mei and his cronies. Each was holding a knocked-out hostage, Zhuo Fan and holy maiden Yun Shuang. Throwing the baggage to the ground, the trio cackled. Clap with a slow clap, a nice-looking youth came over with a dozen people behind him. It was Yuan Yang. Second prince gave the baggage a curt nod. Whenever the yellow wind blows, nothing can catch him. Ancestor Huang Mei lives up to his reputation. To have even Zhuo Fan, the pain in the rear of all the houses, tied up, I am in awe, ha ha ha. Hi, thank you, your highness. I am not like those nobodies, undeserving of their name. I had him captured even before I got to show what I was made of. I feel ashamed sometimes, undeserving of the second prince's praise. Ha ha ha, ancestor is so modest. I'm sure that it is not Zhuo Fan who is weak, but ancestor's skills are out of this world to have achieved such swift success. Ancestor, you will have the 10 8th grade pills, rest assured. Second prince clapped and laughed while ancestor Huang Mei gave out his creepy cackle. With that out of the way, the second prince turned to the baggage. He flipped Zhuo Fan over and snickered at his dreamy look. Is this all the best steward beneath heavens amounts to? This is what you get for ignoring my invite. Then he turned to Yun Shuang in confusion. Ancestor, who is this? He, not a clue. Since she was with Zhuo Fan, she has to be someone important to him. I figured the girl would be of some use to your highness, so I brought her along. Ancestor Huang Mei shrugged. Second prince chapped his lips with so many praises. That's so nice of you, ancestor, ha ha ha. He flipped her over as well, putting on display all that made her pretty. He was amazed. Holy maiden Yun Shuang, ancestor, how come you've kidnapped someone from Parish? You mean I can't? Ancestor Huang Mei was confused. Squinting, the second prince took a deep breath and showed a twisted smile. No, you're perfect, ancestor. In fact, I'll add 2 more pills as thanks. What? Ancestor Huang Mei blanked for a second, then laughed. Thank you, your highness. He thought he had brought along a mere girl, but she proved to be of value, earning him a bonus. Giving Yun Shuang a good look, second prince said, Ancestor, could you wake her up? I have some questions. Easy. Ancestor Huang Mei nodded and pulled out a vial from his ring. He hovered it under Yun Shuang's nose and said, This is my prized narcotic 1,000 years dream. Not even a radiant stage expert can fight it. Their only chance at waking up is if I help them, he. Ancestor's skills are amazing. I am in awe. Second prince cupped his hands, then waited for Yun Shuang to wake up. 15 minutes later, with a melodious sound, Yun Shuang stirred. The first thing she saw was the second prince's warped smile. She cried, Ah, second prince, miss, there's no need to fear. You are a valued guest of my manor. You're safe here. Grinning, second prince made a gesture for silence. Yun Shuang looked at him distraught. She shuddered backwards as she took in his accomplices with a heavy heart. Her 5th layer of Profound Heaven stage could hardly count as anything against the 9th layer Profound Heaven experts around, to say nothing of the 5 Radiant stage experts. The biggest shock was the yellow eyebrow ancestor in the 8th layer of Radiant stage. Looking at so many big shots around her, all she saw was death. Then she glanced at Zhuo Fan having the sweetest dreams imaginable and shook him. Steward Zhuo, wake up. Wake up, no use. Zhuo Fan was sleeping like a baby. Ha ha ha, miss, save your energy. Only my antidote can wake him. Ancestor Huang Mei laughed. Yun Shuang bit her lip, growing frantic and fearful of the men around her. She knew Zhuo Fan couldn't do a damn thing as he was, but she stuck close to him either way. The closer she was, the safer she felt. Snickering inside, the second prince put on a genial smile. Miss Schuinger, I've heard of you being a holy maiden. But with all of Parish's rules and other obstacles, I've never had the pleasure of paying you a visit. Imagine my surprise when you came to me instead. You honor and humble me with your presence. Humph, what valuable guest, you kidnapped us, Yun Shuang scoffed. Second prince laughed. True, but it's fine. All that matters is that you are in my home and that makes you a guest. And let me tell you, I do know how to treat my guests. Though there is just one small detail that has been vexing me for a long time, something that I hope you can clarify for me. What? Yun Shuang asked. Second prince gave a deep bow. I've heard that Miss is the same as the high priest, with eyes that can read the heavens, able to look into a person's fate. Would it be possible to glimpse upon mine? Am I? Second prince was getting excited and shouted, fit to rule? Not in your life. Yun Shuang was stubborn and shot him down there and then. By Yun clan's ancestral teachings, we have always been neutral. We look after the people, not the rulers. Peeking into the empire's fate is taboo and against the Yun clan's principles. I cannot help you. Second prince's face fell and he snorted. I see, ancestral teachings, is it? Why then I heard that 20 years ago the high priest had read Huangpu Qingshan's fate. How is that the same? Yun Shuang explained. Huangpu Qingshan was a child then. His fate was full of twists and turns. He had yet to mature into someone being fit to rule. You, on the other hand, are fully grown and have fewer turning points. If you do have a dragon's disposition, it will come to pass more often than not. And reading it will mean revealing heaven's plan, inviting heaven's wrath, and bringing hell upon the masses. She shouldn't have said that. Now the second prince's heart was thrumming in his chest out of excitement. When Huangpu Qingshan died, his fate as an emperor wasn't certain, and even if he had the disposition of a king, he still couldn't overcome the tribulation called Zhuo Fan. But the second prince was different. His fate was set in stone. Once determined, it would come to pass. Summing it up, all Holy Maiden had to do was to say that he had it in him to be an emperor and no one would stop him. He'd have a smooth sailing towards the throne. Second prince's delusion of grandeur grew so much that his eyes were bloodshot. What are you waiting for then? Bask your eyes on my regal self. Tell me if I have what it takes to reach the top. I told you already, I mustn't. Second prince held a 5th grade spiritual sword and poked at Zhuo Fan's throat in his lunacy. I heard you two are close. Look already or he dies. Easy, your highness. He is after all the one his majesty bestowed the best steward beneath heaven's title. We will also have to answer if anything happens to him. Someone urged in the second prince's ear. Second prince glared and roared, Codswallop, once I take the throne, best steward beneath heavens isn't worth a HT. He now turned to Yun Shuang and threatened, look or I will kill him. Didn't the Yun clan always come to people's aid? Are you going to let this man suffer? Yun Shuang was torn. She couldn't watch him die nor go against her ancestors' teachings. She just couldn't choose. She glanced at Zhuo Fan's dreamy face and recalled her grandfather's warning. Zhuo Fan was an anomaly that changed fates, and she was to guide him on the straight and narrow path. Recalling Zhuo Fan's selfless act of jumping in front of her to meet the poison, she finally made her choice. Zhuo Fan had to survive. Fine, I will, Yun Shuang nodded. Second prince was jubilant. He took back the sword and straightened his tunic. Then, Holy Maiden, if you please. Yun Shuang closed her eyes, and the next time she opened them, they turned into a sucking abyss. Just that in that endless darkness faint glimmers shone, like stars. After a while, she regained her normal sight and sighed. What is it, Holy Maiden, am I? Second prince couldn't control himself with joy. Yun Shuang nodded with a relaxed smile. How fortunate you are not fit to rule. I didn't go against my ancestors. Oh, such a blessing. Boom, second prince's mind exploded. His face twitched as he babbled, Holy Maiden, aren't you mistaken? Do it again. Grandfather has taught me since I was a child. There's no mistake. Yun Shuang stated, you are unfit for the throne. Don't waste your breath. But I will tell you this, my kindness to you. The path you tread is fraught with danger towards eternal doom. Turn back and you may live a life of peace if you don't. You damn liar, you dare to deceive me. I'll kill you. With a roar, the second prince denied this wretched fate with all his being and even lost his mind. Holding out his sword again, he slashed at Yun Shuang. Yun Shuang shrieked and curled. The sword failed to cut even a hair from her head as it clanged in the vice of a dragon claw. What came next was the cackle of a demon. Ha ha ha, you fool. Even if you were fit to rule, the instant you grabbed me, your fate was doomed. Clang, with a sharp and faint sound, the second prince's prized 5th grade spiritual sword snapped in two in that dragon claw's grip to everyone's horror. Zhuo Fan stood proud and tall before Yun Shuang, roaming his cold gaze on the guards and stopping on the second prince with a snicker. He, simply because of a declined invite you decided to kidnap me. I gotta hand it to you, that takes guts. Zzz Zhuo Fan, second prince babbled, staggering back in fright. Yun Shuang burst in joy at the high and mighty figure. Steward Zhu, are you all right? Ha ha ha, never been better. Like I said, stick with me and you'll be going places. Only I can push others around. The others won't ever get the chance. Stick with me and no one will touch you. Zhuo Fan gave a thumbs up and a grin, going back to showing off his swag. Yun Shuang giggled and blushed. His jokes worked wonders in easing her worries. Ancestor Huang Mei cried in disbelief. How? Only I can wake you from my 1,000 years dream. If there's one thing I don't care about, that's poison. Be it narcotic or necrotic, they got nothing on me. I am where I am because neither Regent Estate nor the likes of those 7 houses, Pill King Hall included, could cope with me. So what could a rookie like you do? I only faked being asleep, curious as to who had the nerve to pull something like this. Squinting, Zhuo Fan kept on mocking, his hands swirling with black energy as he turned to the second prince. Lo and behold, it was this dumbass. Something's still bugging me though. How in God's name did the wise and shrewd majesty end up with this gung-ho fool of a son? Even Miss Schuenger's reading proves you are the farthest thing from a ruler. Does that make you? Not a prince, PFF. Yun Shuang giggled and punched her cute fist on Zhuo Fan's chest, then rolled her eyes. Second prince's shock had now turned into full-blown rage, his breathing ragged as he glared at Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan had spat the bastard right in his face. and the all-important prince had only one logical reaction to this, to snap at this naked humiliation. Ancestor Huang Mei, what are you standing around for? Get that miscreant, second prince roared and pointed at Zhuo Fan. Ancestor Huang Mei had had enough as well and shot yellow smoke for Zhuo Fan. You little scamp, do you think everyone is beneath you? Have a taste of my power, 1,000 years dream. Yun Shuang ducked behind Zhuo Fan, who only smirked in disdain as the black energy covered them, who the yellow smoke wrapped around the two in seconds. Ancestor Huang Mei stuck his head out in pride at the second prince, but an explosion cut his chance at boasting. The yellow smoke went for a spin, and as it did, it only got thinner to reveal the black mass in the center. Demon transformation art, Zhuo Fan called the blackness back inside, his eyes looking icier by the second. What happened to my 1,000 years dream? Ancestor Huang Mei stammered. Zhuo Fan looked at him with a cold stare, his voice dripping with malice. Ate it. Ancestor Huang Mei was sweating buckets. Zhuo Fan was more of a monster than the rumors had him pegged. He had shrugged the narcotic off like it was nothing. The ancestor knew Zhuo Fan was a body cultivator. His greatest weapon were his own 2 fists. Now that the narcotic was a bust, a poison user like him was a sitting duck, fated to die at the crazed Zhuo Fan. That being the case, his best and only choice of action would be to run like hell. Ancestor Huang Mei gave a quick salute to the second prince and said without the slightest hesitation, Your Highness, may fate allow us to meet again, fare the well. Oh, and don't forget, Your Highness still owes me 12 pills. Ancestor Huang Mei flicked his sleeve and ran like the yellow wind he was. Second prince stomped in anger. This old coot can't do a damn thing and still expects me to pay. I hate his type the most. He didn't get to curse, though, as the yellow wind slammed back into the yard hard. Ancestor Huang Mei was sprawled on the ground, blood leaking from his mouth. Next to him was Zhuo Fan's cold face, his red flashing right hand clutching the old man's neck. Humph, you mess with me, and now you want to run. You think you can just get away with it? Zhuo Fan's eyes shone with savagery. Ancestor Huang Mei cried, Steward Zhuo, spare me. Second prince made me. Pa, a resounding cuff over the old guy's face cut his whining short. Zhuo Fan snickered, we both know I'm no fool, so stop stating the obvious. While he is the culprit, you are his lackey. In both cases, no one's leaving this place alive. SSS gasping, Ancestor Huang Mei was overwhelmed by Zhuo Fan's capacity for cruelty, going so far as to kill any who wronged him. If he had known, he'd never have accepted the job even for 20 pills. As the black energy oozed out from Zhuo Fan and he noticed the naked bloodthirst in his eyes, Ancestor Huang Mei turned white as paper, including his eyebrows, as he begged, Wait, Steward Zhuo, don't kill me. Let me go and I'll do anything. Isn't your Luo clan newly promoted? You must be short on men. I'm an 8th layer radiant stage expert. I can stand on your side, pledge my life to you. The black energy hovered for a second while Zhuo Fan was weighing the proposition. Ancestor Huang Mei's eyes lit up and he grasped at straws. Too late, though, as Zhuo Fan shook his head and the black energy shot forth. Sorry, we already have a poisoner, the alchemy house's elder vicious pill king. We don't need you, he's just a profound heaven cultivator while I'm in the radiant stage, Ancestor Huang Mei cried. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Ha ha ha, I've handpicked every elder of the Luo clan myself. None of them will balk in the face of death. This is where you fall short. Zhuo Fan punctuated by having the black energy cover swallow Ancestor Huang Mei whole. Funny how he did the same thing Ancestor Huang Mei had done to him. The stark contrast was that the black energy was far deadlier. Everyone had a front row seat to Ancestor Huang Mei's miracle diet. He was thinning under the naked eye. Swallowed by the black mass, his face twisted every second. The diet only came to an end when his very being was reduced to absolutely nothing. Second prince crumbled to the ground in horror. His radiant stage men were all shaking as well, holding their lord as they made a slow crawl backwards. Zhuo Fan was only in the 3rd layer of profound heaven, yet to everyone present he was nothing short of Tianyu's #1 expert, a freak. With how even Ancestor Huang Mei was dust in the wind, how could they fare any better? Yun Shuang pursed her lips, watching the cold stone killer with fear. It was a first for her to watch a man die through such means. Grandfather had told her that he was the vilest person to walk this earth, and she was there to set him straight. But they were chatting and laughing just a little while ago. He even jumped to her defense in her dire need. He looked nothing like an evil spawn. Only now did she come face to face with Zhuo Fan's cruel and insidious nature. Zhuo Fan showed an evil grin seeing the empty space in front of him, then turned to the pretty boy and his gang. Shaking like a leaf, the second prince turned guileless, acting like a bad boy who had gotten caught and huddling with his guards while waiting for punishment. SS Steward Zhuo, I know my mistake. I won't do it again, honest. Please let me go just this once. Second prince's voice quivered. Zhuo Fan got before him and snickered, next time. If there ever will be a next time, that old fart's death will look like a joyride compared to yours. Got that? Why, yeah. Second prince's teeth clattered as he bobbed his head. The guards kept mum despite the clear humiliation their lord was facing. What else could they do? They could fight the monster to their last breath, but would it do any good? Who'd be dumb enough to mess with this savage that not even the 7 houses dare to? Oh, right, the second prince is one. They all were wailing inside, though neither criticized their lord out loud. Zhuo Fan saw him rooted in place and patted his cheek warningly. For your pretty boy face, I'll leave it at that. Second prince eased his breath, but Zhuo Fan kept on talking, though I won't go easy on you either. Leaving you with a little homework will do good for your character. Zhuo Fan's right hand flashed red and he smashed the ground. The savage's fist leveled Prince's home. A red wave shot out from the point of impact. The sudden explosion blew the entire area it covered, pulverizing anything within 100 miles and sending the sand sky high. Second Prince's group was too out of it to notice the floating sand that had buried them the next second. All that they knew was gone in a wink. That included the 80-mile-wide residence of the Second Prince as well as the surrounding buildings. In the aftermath of Zhuo Fan's fist, the entire imperial capital shook, reaching the brink of collapse. In the imperial palace's gardens, the emperor was having another round of chess with Sima Hui. Only this time the emperor wasn't as peaceful. With all the players coming to the imperial capital, it had gotten even the emperor to worry. A large earthquake happened and flipped the chessboard. The emperor shouted, "What is it now? Your Majesty, we only know that it came from the Second Prince's manor," a guard reported. The emperor was glum and snapped, "What has the old second done this time?" "Go find out right away," the guard rushed away. Sima Hui paused, then cupped his hands. "Your Majesty, that wasn't just a small commotion. May I go check on the Second Prince?" "I fear for the worse." The emperor waved him off with a sigh. Sima Hui bowed and shot to the skies. At the prime minister's residence, a man in black was whispering in Zhu Chengfeng's ear, but the sudden rumbling broke all the pottery. Zhu Chengfeng stared for a moment, then mocked, "Humph, the young sure are bold. That little monster isn't easy to handle, even for me. Yet that lame-brained kid went and provoked him. Ha ha ha, that's a calf for you, ignorant and foolish. This lesson I reckon ought to be a cruel one." Zhu Chengfeng closed his eyes and a faint smile appeared. Meanwhile, at Hell Valley's residence in the imperial capital, Yu Wanshan and his elders were in a small room when the earth wobbled under their feet, though it never broke their calm. He finally acted and got crushed at last. Yu Wanshan sighed. They knew since long ago that the Second Prince wanted Zhuo Fan on his side. They weren't the Second Prince's first allied house for nothing. They even gave a stern reminder to that halfwit. Zhuo Fan was one tough customer, but they figured, did this obstinate twerp no good advice when he heard one, it would only work to incite him. So these wise foggies shut the door in his face instead of being under the same heel of that savage, as the Second Prince was right now. Zhuo Fan's action was loud and clear for everyone. Yu Wanshan turned to Yu Ming. "This kid is too rash. Is cooperation still viable? We have no choice, not when all eyes are on Regent Estate. The fodder is always the first to fall, and that is what we will become if we stick too close to it. Of all the princes, the eldest prince is too shrewd to side with and the third prince sloppy, leaving the second prince as the only viable pawn with some use. The choice was made for us." Yu Ming sighed. "We are at the crossroads." Hell Valley's posse sighed as well. "How could we be so foolish to end up like this?" The other players also noticed the obvious flagrant disturbance. Fatty and Princess Yongning were gunning for the second prince's home when the earthquake struck, followed by a wave of sand. It pressed so heavy on them, they found it hard to even breathe. Once the sand settled, Princess Yongning blew it away with a gale. Imperial capital is a picturesque landscape. Where did all this sand come from? I bet that brat had something to do with it. Paling, Fatty wiped his brow as he sped up while muttering, "I hope we're not too late. They say the kid is hellbent on toying with others. Hope he hasn't made his move yet." Princess Yongning asked, "Third brother, did you say something? If we are too late, we'll be seeing the second brother's corpse." "No, there might not even be a corpse left. For God's sake, what is wrong with the second brother to keep harassing that guy?" Fatty facepalmed. Princess Yongning was clueless. Aren't we going to save Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang? Why is the second brother the one in danger? Humph, that freak never needed our help from the beginning. You think the second brother's thugs can hold him? Who knows what state the second brother will be in after Zhuo Fan's done with him. I sure hope there's still a breath left in there somewhere. The fatty shook his head and Yongning looked more than a bit puzzled. You mean to tell me that Zhuo Fan is so amazing that even as a victim, he is the one wrecking second brother's home? And that he'd go as far as to kill a prince? Oh, Yongning, these matters are beyond what your pretty little head can comprehend. The world is filled with evil, but Zhuo Fan takes the cake, the worst evil of all. It's fine if you don't step on his toes, but once you do, God help you. There's no low he won't stoop to. The fatty sighed. Do you know the Regent Estate's eldest young master? Do you know what a hero he was? Well, even he didn't get away, ending up being bitten to death by Zhuo Fan. From then on, the sayings you can mess with the king of hell but never with Zhuo Fan spread everywhere. Yongning blinked her purty eyes. Yet no matter how gruesome a picture Fatty painted, it only worked to incite her to figure Zhuo Fan out. I wonder just who is this worst evil to make the whole world, even princes and Regent Estate, fear him. Her step quickened, to save second brother, sure, but more so to see with her own eyes the oddity called Zhuo Fan. The streets flashed by and the duo arrived in no time at the scene of the crime, but the scenery had them speechless. The grand second prince's mansion was nowhere to be found, replaced by sand and more sand. All the people stared around dumbfounded at the desert in the heart of the flourishing imperial capital. Two people were noticed in the vast sea of sand, Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang. The girl was even standing on a tile, as if to not mar her beauty. Nevertheless, the sudden change in scenery even had Yun Shuang slack-jawed. It finally dawned on her. Steward Zhuo was not just evil, but a calamity. One whose very existence was to torment others. Yun Shuang's eyes flashed with resolve as she stared at him. Groans came from the guards as their heads popped out of the sand. They paled at the world of sand around them and shouted, "His Highness, where is His Highness?" Zhuo Fan's first order of business was his trademark evil smile and then strolling before a flat portion of sand. He shoved his hand in and pulled. His harvest, a pale human being, and not just any human, but the second prince himself, Yuan Yang, just that the guy was in torn clothes and a retarded look painted on his face. Without the cocky attitude, he looked more like a refugee, shivering all over. "Second prince," the guards shouted, but stopped the instant they saw Zhuo Fan's cold gaze. Zhuo Fan smiled and shook the prince like a rag. "You want the throne, right? Hi, what a wonderful dream. See how I'll peel the respect off of you, flogging you on the streets of the imperial capital and subjecting you to all humiliations imaginable. Such a prince can never get the throne since he has no respect to speak of unless he's the only successor." Zhuo Fan squinted as if he was teaching. Second prince was shaking like a leaf, his head too. "And no, I beg you, please don't do this to me. Or I can never remain a prince. Brother, please do me a solid and leave the second brother be." A simple laughter echoed. Zhuo Fan knew who he was, pinpointing the incoming wobbling ball of lard. "Ha, Fatty, you sure are a worthy brother. I'm sure you know of my temper by now, yet this second brother of yours had the balls to kidnap me." Zhuo Fan finished with two resounding slaps on the second prince's face, so strong that he spat 2 teeth and blood. Then he resumed in his standard evil tone, "I merely want to tie him up and parade him in the streets. Besides, I'm only trying to help. Who knows what idiotic and retarded idea some other miscreant will come up with next to use against me. I am not a patient man and don't feel like dealing with each one of them." Fatty nodded. "Brother Zhuo, I see. The world is crawling with ignorant and reckless people, but he is my second brother. Please let him go. You already made an example of him, right? Ha. Yeah, you turned the second brother into looking like this and leveled his house. Isn't that enough revenge?" Princess Yongning pouted, glaring at Zhuo Fan, yet she couldn't put her heart in it. She was even partial to Zhuo Fan. By speaking of revenge, she was justifying Zhuo Fan's actions. The fatty twitched and rolled his eyes. He knew Yongning didn't mean it, but still felt forlorn. "He is your second brother while you've only seen Zhuo Fan in passing a few times. What are you doing giving an outsider an excuse to trash your family? Have you finally got your eyes on someone?" Fan laughed. "All right, I guess I can spare the kid for your sake. But get this straight, you two owe me one each, and sooner or later you're going to pony up. Brother, we only have one second brother. Let him go and we will owe you a favor, of course, but what are you doing asking one from each of us?" The fatty's face darkened. Zhuo Fan's eyebrow rose as he chuckled. "It's not my fault that both of you asked me to let him go. That makes it 2 favors. When the time comes and I need you, you better own up, damn grubber." That was the unanimous thought on everyone's mind. But the more they looked at the second prince hanging by a thread in Zhuo Fan's claw, the more they had to nod. Zhuo Fan laughed and threw away his pawn. He went to Yun Shuang and said to Fatty, "Let's stop here. When I need something, I'll be sure to drop by. See ya," and left with Yun Shuang. Princess Yongning rushed to hold Yun Shuang back. "I and Shuinger are practically sisters and wish to get together after not having seen each other for ages. I mean, Shuinger must be shaking from that terrible fright, and as her sister, it is my duty to look after her. Third brothers, you go on without me." "Yongning, I am not really," Yun Shuang explained, but Yongning shot him a look. Zhuo Fan snickered. "Princess Yongning, Shuinger is a profound heaven expert while you are far below her. Why would she need you? Humph, how about this then? When a girl suffers a devastating trauma, it is irrelevant to one's cultivation. What do you men know? Yang Ning's eyebrows kept moving as he taunted Zhuo Fan. Fatty frowned. Yang Ning, that's enough. You think I can't tell what you're up to? You're trying to get out of being grounded. Even if you do go with Miss Yun Shuang to perish, Imperial Father will have someone drag you back. Oh, Fatty, you're mistaken about something. Miss Yun Shuang is coming to Prosperity Compound to be with the Luo clan and not returning to perish. What? The two jerked in shock, then looked at Yun Shuang. She was the holy maiden of Perish, the next in line to be its clan head. Then why did the high priest send her off to someone else? Yun Shuang's eyes reddened and she nodded. Grandfather had me become steward Zhuo's attendant and tend to his needs. Nanny. Needs? Fatty's eyes burned with a fire not even the second brother's plight could stir. Zhuo Fan, you vile beast. I used to think you were only 90% evil, but now I see that you're capable of stooping so low as to even force yourself on innocent maidens. Talk, how did you blackmail the high priest into making such a humiliating decision? Princess Yang Ning glared at Zhuo Fan and stopped in front of Yun Shuang, whispering, Shuinger, don't worry. I won't let this vile demon lay his claws on you. Zhuo Fan glanced at the two and shrugged. Yun Shuang was waving all over the place, beet red. You've got it all wrong. It's not like that at all. Grandfather found Steward Zhuo too evil and wanted me to guide him. That's why. Oh, I see. The two royalties saw the light at long last. Fatty only gave Zhuo Fan a long look and sighed. Miss Yun Shuang, your clan strives for the betterment of the people, which I admire, but I must stress one important fact. This person, or whatever you want to call him, doesn't have just evil proclivities, but is pure undiluted evil, a demon, a wretched, revolting, vile spawn that even hell spat. Hey, wasn't I only 90% evil? How did I become pure evil? I haven't forced a lady in my entire life, now have I? Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. Fatty mocked. What does that count? With your infamy, such an act is second nature to you. You've got a point there. Zhuo Fan nodded pensively. PFF, the girls giggled next to Zhuo Fan. When Zhuo Fan didn't flip out, he was quite a nice-ish human being. He didn't bother with the details, nor was pedantic, quite refreshing compared to some gentlemen. One would go as far as to say that he was leagues above those self-righteous officials. That, of course, applied to his time off of killing and unleashing mayhem. In any case, changing him is like moving mountains. Not getting corrupted yourself along the way is already a miracle. The Fatty sighed. Luo clan's young miss used to be so kind and polite, but now I hear she's been broken in, shrewd and cunning. All the more reason I should stay with Shuinger to not let her be led astray. Yang Ning found a good excuse for once. Fatty shook his head. Do what you will, but don't think I'll take the blame when the Imperial Father hears about this. Yang Ning giggled and hugged Shuinger close, even kissed her. Zhuo Fan didn't argue either, leaving with a salute to Fatty. As for Tubby, he had to stay behind to clean up all this mess and calm down the traumatized second prince. But the Fatty did care for his sister, not forgetting to give Zhuo Fan some stern warnings. Zhuo Fan took her with open arms, of course. Who knows, the apple of the Emperor's eye might hold some use yet. In every moment of every hour, the only thing on Zhuo Fan's mind was the grand scheme of things. Even while trashing the second prince, he still knew when to stop, as to not yet set the imperial family against him, but letting him off easy was out of the question as well. Each and every word he spoke to the second prince was beautifully woven in meanings beyond mere rebukes. Second prince knew now that he was not cut out for the throne, and in his moment of despair, Zhuo Fan gave him a good nudge. Kill the rest and you'll be the true successor. The imperial family was boiling on the inside, and all he had to do was to be a patient angler. In the tripartite plan, everyone wanted out of the deadlock, but neither wanted to stick their neck out. That only leaves forcing them to stick out. The emperor uplifted the Luo clan with the same purpose in mind, and Zhuo Fan incited the second prince for the same thing. I'm only curious if Fatty figured it all out since he stopped me from giving further advice to the second prince. Not that it made a difference. The seed of a power play has already bloomed in the second prince's heart. Glancing at the dazed second prince laying on the sand, Zhuo Fan showed a grin, then walked away with the girls. Fatty turned from Zhuo Fan to his second brother and sighed. An hour later, Zhuo Fan arrived at the Regent of Prosperity's compound. All of the Luo clan was in awe after his short explanation of the facts. Zhuo Fan was out on a stroll to Perish, yet returned with not just the great holy maiden but a princess. Young miss, settle them in. I will be in seclusion for 3 days, Zhuo Fan said to Luo Yuncheng and walked out back. Luo Yuncheng nodded and took the guests to their rooms. On their way, she turned a hopeful gaze to Yun Shuang. Miss Shuinger, can you really read fate? Yun Shuang nodded, puzzled inside. Where is this young miss going with this? Does she also want to know if the Luo clan is fit for power? She couldn't be further from the truth. Luo Yuncheng blushed as she said, Miss Shuinger, could you perhaps look into my fated marriage? Yun Shuang was stumped, then sighed. A girl's heart sure isn't like a man's. She smiled, of course. Luo Yuncheng laughed. Please tell me when my wedding will come. Yun Shuang nodded and her eyes turned into sucking abysses. Once she returned from her reading, your wedding should have long passed. It's not necessarily bad, but I find that it was broken at some point in time. Maybe. Her eyes shone for a second, then she shook her head. Forgive me, but I cannot see your wedding. Why? Luo Yuncheng cried. Yun Shuang sighed. Because of Steward Zhuo. Your wedding should have been 8 years ago. But Steward Zhuo, who is outside fate, changed your fated marriage. This drove your current fate into chaos, and I can no longer see it. You mean, he broke my fated wedding? That makes him responsible, right? Luo Yuncheng's eyes shined in glee. Yun Shuang was startled, then nodded. Ostensibly, he is of some fault. Great, thanks Miss Yun Shuang. Luo Yuncheng had never been happier. Yun Shuang was clueless. Yang Ning at the side shook her head and said, Shuinger, what about mine? Meanwhile, in a dark, damp cell, a grizzled and bloody old man was nailed to a pole. His shoulder blades had been run through, he was robbed of his cultivation, and was on his last breath. He was the parish's high priest, Yun Xuanji. He was surrounded by shadows. High priest, you crossed the line. An aged and familiar voice came from behind the veil. The high priest gave a weak laugh. Yun clan has always strived for the people. We've never crossed it, unlike you. Did you talk about it to anyone, including Zhuo Fan? The voice turned cold. The high priest shook his head. That matter is too dangerous and can't be spread. I will never harm the common man. Well done. Whoosh. A chain flew from behind the veil and into the high priest's heart. The high priest shuddered and his head slumped. Ha ha ha, since he didn't talk, the game is still on. The cold and sinister laugh came again. In a 100-square-meter stone room, Zhuo Fan nodded after looking around. Although not as huge as the second prince's compound, the region of Prosperity's compound had everything. Not a bad cultivating room. He set up a body refinement array on the floor and took out the abyss phantom butterfly's wings. Instead of turning it into a flying demonic treasure, he had gotten so used to having wings that Zhuo Fan found it a better choice to have them stick on his back. Tracing his hand over the 20-meter-long blue wings, Zhuo Fan sighed and grinned. He was mighty pleased when the crown prince came bearing this gift. Staring at the dazzling light show from below and feeling the coolness from the array, Zhuo Fan's hand moved through the gestures. Along with a flash of lightning, the wings slowly melted into the array. Zhuo Fan trembled. Having since refined the Killing leg, doing the same with a mere 7th-level spiritual beast's wings was a cinch. Even the shattering of his bones got no reaction out of him. Zhuo Fan sat in the array for 3 days, with eyes closed, uncaring for the outside matters. All this time the array worked its magic in reconstructing his body in every which way, but it always returned to his original form in the end. Zhuo Fan opened his eyes and stood up. His back writhed and spectral wings unfolded, releasing a charming and enrapturing aura. With a flap, a gale took the room by the storm. It was then that the shades of blue shone all over and wrapped around Zhuo Fan, as if he was walking among blue sunshine. Zhuo Fan knew his body best. If there was any expert near him, the glow would have sent him to dreamland. It all depends on one's soul's strength, but the least it can do is buy me a moment. Thus, this 3rd layer profound heaven stage cultivator with his new 7th-level spiritual beast wings not only had his speed bolstered, but that blue glow around him made for a natural defense. It was a neat trick, good in offense and defense, independent of his actions. Zhuo Fan laughed in pride. With a twitch of his brows, the wings withdrew and he walked outside. His mood soured, though, when his right eye stung. With a hum, a blue glare shot from his eye and 3 golden halos flashed within it. Divine Eye of the Void, 3rd stage. Zhuo Fan was stunned and then laughed again. By sheer luck, his refining actually upgraded his Divine Eye of the Void. When he thought about the 3rd stage's skill, he knew why. It was because of resonance, taking a different path towards the same goal. It would have taken him far longer otherwise. But since he got it already, he wasn't about to look a gift horse in the mouth. He got stronger, didn't he? He could finally put up a fight against an ethereal stage expert that had his blood boiling, briskly walking outside. He was on the lookout for a good sparring partner to test the 3rd stage on. Rumbling, he creaked the stone door open and the glaring sun's rays along with the fresh air lightened his mood. Now, who'll fight me? Zhuo Fan roared. Before he got to play hide-and-seek with Li Jingxin and his other elders, graceful curves approached, nudging him to be quiet. Steward Zhuo, all evil begins with violence. Please exercise restraint. Zhuo Fan was stunned. He turned around to see Yun Shuang there. Excessive is all I know, and how did you know I was coming out of seclusion? Zhuo Fan frowned. Did your eyes reveal it to you? Be that as it may, they can't see you. I've been waiting here all this time for you to come out. With a smile, Yun Shuang struck the image of a fairy as she handed him a towel. Here, freshen up after your toil and let it brighten your day. Thank. Hold up, what are you up to? Zhuo Fan came to midwipe. Yun Shuang's sweet smile came along with her genial tone. I am your attendant, it's in my job description, and I do need to guide you towards good. To do that I will have to keep you happy all day, every day, lest emotions run amok and you'll turn evil again. I also got you this. Yun Shuang took out a booklet. Zhuo Fan read the title, 3-character classic. It's for children. Zhuo Fan blinked at Yun Shuang in daze. Yun Shuang nodded with a smile. People at birth are naturally good. It'll do good for your spirit. Try it. I won't read a goddamned word. I've roamed the world for too many years to have any use for a bint's teachings. Zhuo Fan slammed the book on the pavement and shoved his finger in her face. Miss Schuinger, I didn't ask you to be a servant, nor a tutor to right my wrong ways. I only need you to read the heavens and tell me the future. All you have to do is tell me what the other players are doing, and I can take it from there in figuring out their plans. With your eyes and my smarts, we will have control over everything. That's your role. Yun Shuang gave him a long look. Her smile deflated and she picked up the book in sadness. Zhuo Fan shrugged and asked like nothing happened. Now, what have the factions been up to these days? I didn't look. Yun Shuang pouted, then stomped away. To save the people, you must have a righteous heart. Until you're re-educated, I won't even peek. You. Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth and spat. Then what are you still doing here if you aren't looking? I'm taking you back. We're going to Yun Xuanji and having him look. Zhuo Fan pulled her outside. Yun Shuang was so distressed, tears welled up in her eyes. Dragged around, her feet left deep marks in the ground. Luo Yuncheng and the princess were chatting merrily when they saw them whiz by and caught up in distress. What's going on? Luo Yuncheng only had to see Schuinger in tears to know. Zhuo Fan must have shown his evil side again. Zhuo Fan did the same thing back then, at the foot of Blackwind Mountain, though these crass and harsh outbursts had tended to die down over the years of spending time around his clansmen. While to outsiders he had no restraint whatsoever, the vilest of the vile, Yun Shuang hadn't been around him long enough to see this side. Anyone who'd witnessed one of his rage episodes would be just as frightened. Shielding Schuinger, Luo Yuncheng glared at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, what did Schuinger do for you to scare her like this? Yeah, Schuinger is so kind, doing everything you ask of her. You must be at fault here to pick on our Schuinger. Princess Yangning puffed out her chest, hugging Yun Shuang close. Apologize this instant, or I'm telling Imperial Father. Zhuo Fan looked at the three of them and sighed. It hasn't been that long and these girls are already a clique. Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan took a long breath to cool his jets. Princess Yangning, are you going to His Majesty to get me punished? Tell me then, has the second prince's matter settled? Of course, but that is all because of the third brother asking you to take it as the second brother's fault. The Imperial Father wouldn't have wasted words with you and would have had you. The princess looked mighty pleased. Zhuo Fan snickered inside. Fatty's request was only to save the Emperor's hide. In the current state of things, where all factions were at a stalemate, if the imperial family moved against the Luo clan, Regent Estate would be celebrating. It was waiting for the Luo clan and the imperial family to fight so it could deal with them both in one fell swoop. The imperial family wasn't about to blow all pretense for a mere second prince, only to suffer in the end. Zhuo Fan was sure of it. Only this ignorant princess was still delusional, thinking that the emperor was the number one in the world. Zhuo Fan turned to Yun Shuang, having vented his earlier rage, turned serious. Miss Schuinger, when your grandfather put you in my care, he said many things. But one thing he did stress, that you are useful. If you can't help me, what reason do I have for keeping you? Our clan doesn't need two bickering matrons. Luo Yuncheng's eyes went red and she glared at him, yet positively giddy inside. The bickering matron he was referring to just now had to be her. Whether unintended by the speaker or by the listener's delusions, for Zhuo Fan, who was the steward to say matron, she took it as if it was more than that. When Luo Yuncheng looked at Zhuo Fan, her gaze drifted and her heart fluttered. Zhuo Fan, though, only had eyes for Yun Shuang, waiting for an answer. Yun Shuang broke out of the princesses and Luo Yuncheng's hug, then stormed out of the door. Zhuo Fan sighed. This works out just as well. With Yun clan neutral, he didn't fear that Holy Maiden would end up in another faction. Yun Shuang opened the door and bumped into an 8-year-old child, throwing him to the ground. Yun Shuang cried, Zio Dongzi, what are you doing here? Sister Schuinger, Zio Dongzi sobbed. Grandfather is dead. What? Yun Shuang seized and paled. The calm Zhuo Fan also froze, and then an incredulous look appeared on his face. Someone killed 4 Pillars High Priest, demigod Yun Xuanji. Who dares commit such an outrageous crime in the heart of the empire?